Chapter 962. Young Master Long, it's best that you leave this place. Bai Ling, what's wrong? Longao was very curious. Under normal circumstances, Bai Ling would not remind him. Was there something fishy going on? Longao, if you don't want to die, leave quickly. Once the tree monarch appears, you're dead for sure. Tree monarch? Although Longao did not know what a tree monarch was, Longao still chose to leave since even Xiling had said so. However, it was too late for Longao. The surrounding trees began to move. Before Longao could react, the tree demons had already begun to attack fiercely. Looking at the strength of the tree demon just now, Longao was shocked when he actually fought the tree demon. The tree demons might not be very strong. Even if they barely reached the Great Emperor realm, they would not be a match for other great emperors. However, the tree demon's situation was obviously different. The tree demon's physical defense was very strong. Moreover, they were in the Burning Sky Divine Realm, the tree demon's territory. A Crimson Great Emperor tree demon could almost completely defeat an Orange Great Emperor. Moreover, there were at least 1,000 tree demons here, if not tens of thousands. Longao did not dare to be careless. 1 against 100. Even with Longao's strength, he was starting to lose. Firmament Devouring Art. Just as Longao was about to be killed by the tree demons at any time, Long Fu's voice suddenly sounded in his mind. Firmament Devouring Art. There were a total of 12 Chaos Stone tablets in the world. Each Chaos Stone tablet contained a cultivation technique and a martial skill. They were extremely powerful. Under normal circumstances, it was almost impossible to obtain a Chaos Stone tablet. If one could obtain one of the Chaos Stone tablets, as long as there were no accidents, they would definitely become the strongest martial artist in the world. It was already extremely difficult to obtain one Chaos Stone tablet, let alone two. One had to admit that Longao's luck was too good, obtaining 2 Chaos Stone tablets. The 2 Primal Chaos tablets that Longao had obtained were the Devour and 5 Elements tablets. They were the so-called Devour and 5 Elements tablets. The Firmament Devouring Art was a powerful martial skill he had obtained from devouring the Primal Chaos Stone tablet. All this time, Longao had never used the Firmament Devouring Art. This was because he had only just reached the entry level of the Firmament Devouring Art. He hadn't even reached the minor completion level. But now that things had come to this point, Longao had no way out. Firmament Devouring Art. Longao moved both of his fists at the same time. At this time, a very powerful force erupted from his body, and a faint black vortex even appeared behind him. The black vortex seemed to be transparent, emitting traces of devouring power. Longao was overjoyed. He had never imagined that he would be able to successfully break through the so-called devouring vortex after using the Firmament Devouring Art for the first time. As expected, the devouring art was the nemesis of the tree demons. Longao endured the waves of weakness that came from his body and forced himself to use the Firmament Devouring Art again and again. The terrifying black vortex continued to devour the tree demons that were attacking him. Although the tree demons were only a type of spiritual beast, they were plant spiritual beasts. Although the Firmament Devouring Art could devour the tree demons, Longao didn't continue to stay. After all, the tree demons were endless. Who knew when the end would come? After devouring, Longao's fist smashed out fiercely. At the same time, he made use of space teleportation and prepared to leave. But the result? Longao was shocked to find that he couldn't teleport away. What had happened? Master, the Tree Emperor has appeared. Tree Emperor? At this time, an ancient tree appeared, covering the sky. Not only Longao, but even Xian Mu and the others were also enveloped by an aura. It was impossible to leave. This was the Tree Emperor. Looking at the tree that was at least a few dozen meters tall, Longao swallowed his saliva. He had seen terrifying tree demons before, but he had never seen such a powerful one. A peak titled Great Emperor. Longao instantly sensed the Tree Emperor's true strength. It was because of this that he knew very well that with the Tree Emperor's strength, even a titled Great Emperor wouldn't be a match for it, let alone him. It was very dangerous. Longao didn't continue to attack. At this time, the surrounding tree demons had all stopped attacking. They were quietly kneeling on the ground, worshipping their tree emperor. Xian Mu and the others looked at the tree emperor in horror. They knew how strong the tree emperor was. Even if they worked together, they wouldn't be a match for it. Longao didn't move. Xian Mu and the others didn't move either. Shameless human, how dare you barge into the territory of the tree demon tribe? Are you trying to steal our tribe's treasures? They were wronged. Xian Mu smiled bitterly and said, Sir Tree Emperor, we didn't know this was the territory of the tree demon tribe. We entered by accident. I hope Sir Tree Emperor can give us a chance. In front of the powerful Tree Emperor, even Xian Mu had to lower his head. Xian Mu and the others knew very well that as long as the Tree Emperor was willing, it could make them stay at any time. It was still the same sentence. When the time came, they wouldn't even know if they could leave alive. Do you think I'll believe you? Xian Mu suddenly took out a token and said, Sir Tree Emperor, please be merciful. Seeing the token, the tree monarch's attitude instantly took a 180-degree turn. The tree monarch didn't say anything. Xian Mu and the others were overjoyed. They immediately retreated, turned around, and quickly left. Not long after, everyone had disappeared without a trace. Seeing Xian Mu and the others leave, Longao was shocked. He knew very well that the reason Xian Mu and the others were safe was because of the token Xian Mu took out. It seemed that the origin of the token wasn't simple. Longao didn't continue to worry about Xian Mu because he knew very well that Xian Mu had the token and he didn't. The Tree Emperor could let Xian Mu and the others go, but not him. It seemed that it wouldn't be easy for him to leave this place. Aren't you afraid? Why should I be afraid? Hearing the others answer, the Tree Emperor seemed a little surprised and praised. If they leave, I will also give you a chance. So, whether you can leave alive or not is up to you. Longao didn't say anything, but his expression was very serious. There were countless tree demons surrounding him. If the Tree Emperor gave the order, Longao knew very well that he would be in big trouble. Even now, he couldn't understand why he couldn't use spatial teleportation or even enter the Dragon Seal space. It seemed that the reason was because of the Tree Emperor and the Tree Demon tribe. Human, you only have one chance. If you want to leave, resist our attacks for 1 minute, and you can leave. Chapter 963. 1 minute. Longao naturally knew what the Tree Emperor meant by 1 minute. It was very solemn. Normally, 1 minute was just a blink of an eye. But now, 1 minute was a test of life and death for Longao. Longao knew that he had no other choice in this situation. Nodding, Longao agreed. At this moment, the countless tree demons in the surroundings all moved. One after another, a terrifying force came pressing down on them. If it was an ordinary yellow-grayed Great Emperor, they wouldn't be able to withstand the Tree Demon tribe's group attack. But Longao's situation was different. Other than his own strength, he also had a very powerful trump card. Longao fought 1 against 1,000, his body constantly shuttling back and forth among the tree demons. In just a few seconds, Longao was already covered in wounds. If this situation continued, Longao knew very well that he would die without a doubt. Unable to use the space, Longao could only fight the tree demons head-on. The Divine Dragon Fist and Hell Tiger Fist continuously smashed out, but the tree demon's defense was too strong. Even if the fist energy was strong, it couldn't kill the tree demons. It's hard to imagine that you can live until now with your strength. It's really a miracle. Hearing Xilin's voice, Longao was depressed to the extreme. At this moment, he couldn't even be bothered to waste his breath on Xiling. The fist energy smashed onto the tree demons. Longao felt even more helpless. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't kill the tree demons. What should he do? Should he continue using the firmament-devouring art? Longao knew very well that at this point, once he killed the tree demon, would the Tree Emperor let him go? Under the situation where he couldn't kill the tree demons, it was simply too difficult to repel all the tree demons for 1 minute. 1 minute was like an eternity. He couldn't continue like this. Longao was very clear in his heart that with his current strength, he wouldn't be able to resist for even a minute. Without being able to use spatial teleportation and enter the dragon seal space, he believed that in less than a minute, he would be beaten to death. With no other choice, Longao could only use the annihilation divine bow. He pulled the string of the godly bow in his hand. With a swoosh, the aura of the godly bow enveloped the entire area. With Longao's current strength, he could only kill great emperors below the green grade with the annihilation divine bow. However, if that was the case, Longao would have a chance to escape. The annihilation divine bow's aura was too powerful, and it directly covered the aura released by the tree emperor. In this way, Longao directly used spatial teleportation to disappear on the spot. He had finally survived this calamity. The annihilation divine bow's power disappeared. Looking at the countless casualties of his clansmen, the tree emperor instantly roared in anger. He had never thought that the other party would do such a thing to him. If he had known earlier, he would not have given the other party a damn chance. Damned human, no matter where you run to, I will definitely tear you to pieces. Longao had successfully left the tree demon's territory, and could finally let out a long sigh of relief. Your strength is too low. You really can't be saved. Longao, who was just about to sit down and rest, heard Xiling's sarcastic words again. He was instantly enraged and said angrily, Xiling, come out! What does my low strength have to do with you? Do you have nothing better to do? There was no need to endure anymore. Purple and white light flashed, and then Xiling and Bai Ling appeared in front of Longao. Bai Ling said helplessly, Sister, young Master Long, stop talking. Longao, if you have the ability, say what you just said again. Xiling, don't think that you can ignore everything just because you are strong. I can tell you clearly that you are nothing in my eyes. Longao could not be bothered to talk nonsense with Xiling. He knew that Xiling was arrogant and did not put him in his eyes from the beginning. Since that was the case, there was no point in saying anything more. Seeing that the other party ignored him, Xiling was furious, but Bai Ling gently pulled her and whispered, Sister, I beg you. Humph. Xiling snorted heavily. It seemed that he cared a lot about his sister. In the end, Xiling turned into a purple stream of light and disappeared, returning to the god-slaying sword. Bai Ling, what's the matter? Seeing that Bai Ling did not return to the god-slaying sword, Longao asked curiously. Young Master Long, the place you came in this time is full of danger. You should be careful. Also, although you escaped from the Tree Emperor, he can lock onto your aura. After speaking, Bai Ling also turned into a white light and entered the god-slaying sword. Lock onto my aura? Inside the dragon seal space. Long Fu, could it be that the Tree Emperor can really lock onto my aura? Longao went straight to the point. The Tree Emperor's strength was there for all to see. If he was locked onto by the Tree Emperor, then he would be in big trouble. One had to know that he still had to stay in the Burning Sky Divine Realm for a whole month. Master, I believe you have already sensed that the Tree Emperor's aura can cut off your entry into the Dragon Seal space and use spatial teleportation. He nodded. Regarding this point, Longao also very much wanted to know the reason. Master, you may not know this, but the Tree Emperor has two types of power, the power of wood and the power of space. When combined, they can cut off spatial fluctuations. So that's how it is. Master, although the Tree Emperor is only a titled Great Emperor, he can sense heaven and earth. Therefore, he can lock onto your aura. You should be careful. If the Burning Sky Divine Realm opens, leave immediately. Don't stay. Bai Ling and Long Fu were so cautious. Longao naturally knew what this meant. It seemed that the Tree Emperor had locked onto his aura. Since that was the case, what should he do? Long Fu, do you have any ideas? Long Fu's idea made Longao a little depressed. According to Long Fu, he could use the nine-headed Emperor Dragon's aura to shake off Xiling. But in the end? Xylin was still pestering him like a vengeful spirit. However, there was no other way. Other than Longao didn't know what to ask. As for himself, he also didn't know how to cut off the aura lock. Longao understood very well that his strength was still not enough. If he was a titled Great Emperor, even if the Tree Emperor could lock onto his aura, would he still dare to chase after him? Strength, strength, and strength. A yellow Great Emperor was still not enough. One had to be a gold Great Emperor at the very least to have the right to speak. Master, it's very difficult. The Tree Emperor has a very strong sense of space. Even I can't forcefully break the lock on you. There's only one way now, and that is for you to think of a way to deal with the Tree Emperor. Then, you can use the firmament devouring art to devour the Tree Emperor. Chapter 964. Deal with the Tree Emperor? He really wanted to deal with the Tree Emperor, but Longao knew his limits. Unless his cultivation reached the level of a gold-grade Great Emperor, he might not be able to fight the Tree Emperor. As for the firmament devouring art, Longao naturally knew the power of the firmament devouring art. However, the difference in cultivation level could not be made up for by other things. Longao did not continue asking because Long Fu had already made it very clear that there was no other way. At this moment, Longao suddenly felt that something was wrong with his surroundings. Before the Tree Emperor could lock on to his surroundings, he had already used spatial teleportation to disappear from his original spot. As expected, just as Longao disappeared, the Tree Emperor arrived with the Tree Demon race. An earth-shattering aura pressed down, bringing with it boundless anger. Not bad. The corner of the Tree Emperor's mouth curled into a cold smile. He was very confident that with his aura locked on, the other party would not be able to escape at all. Longao was chased by the Tree Emperor all the way down. He did not even have the time to look for the so-called 6 wilderness divine thrones. This was also the most depressing thing for Longao. The main purpose of entering the Burning Sky Divine Realm this time was to train and search for the Wilderness Divine Thrones. Longao never thought that he would provoke the Tree Emperor on the first day. I wonder who will win the battle between White Crane and Black Tiger. In the distance, Longao saw that everyone was watching the battle between the two. Longao was also very surprised. The main purpose of entering the Burning Sky Divine Realm was to search for the Wilderness Divine Thrones. Under normal circumstances, no one would fight. White Crane and Black Tiger were 2 of the 5 titled Great Emperors who entered the Burning Sky Divine Realm this time. The 2 of them usually fought openly and secretly. Who would have thought that they would still fight to the death after entering this place? It's here again. At this moment, Longao helplessly discovered that the Tree Emperor's aura had already descended. With the help of spatial teleportation, he disappeared from his original spot again. The Tree Emperor had descended. White Crane and Black Tiger, as well as the other 3 titled Great Emperors, Wan Zhang, Lu Guan, and Yun Xiuxiu, were all shocked. Everyone, including the 5 of them, had naturally heard of the Tree Emperor. The Tree Emperor was a very powerful obstacle in the Burning Sky Divine region. The 5 great titled Great Emperors joined forces to fight against the enemy. 1 against 5, the Tree Emperor really wasn't a match for them. However, the Tree Emperor could clearly sense that the person he was looking for was in the crowd and had already locked onto his aura. After fiercely forcing the 5 of them away, the Tree Emperor angrily roared, "All of you, stop!" Whether it was the Tree Demon Tribe or the Martial Artists Alliance, everyone stopped when they heard the angry roar, including the 5 titled Great Emperors. "Tree Emperor, the reason we entered the Burning Heaven Divine region this time is to gain experience. We have always minded our own business, so why are you looking for trouble?" It could be said that the 5 titled Great Emperors didn't care about the Tree Monarch at all. However, the 5 of them also knew very well that unless they had nothing better to do, no one would be willing to provoke the Tree Monarch for no reason. After all, the Tree Monarch was backed by the powerful Tree Demon clan. "I only want one person. It has nothing to do with you. Tree Emperor, who do you want?" Everyone was curious and started guessing who the Tree Emperor wanted. Almost everyone could guess that the person the Tree Emperor wanted was definitely one of the 100 people. In other words, it was someone from the Martial Artists Alliance. Following the Tree Emperor's gaze, everyone locked onto Longao, who was behind him. Black Wolf? Almost everyone knew who Black Wolf was. After all, there were only a handful of people in the Martial Artists Alliance who dared to provoke Vice Alliance Master Shengguan. It was because of this that Black Wolf was somewhat famous in the Martial Artists Alliance. If it was an ordinary person, the 5 titled Great Emperors would definitely protect them. After all, they were all disciples of the Martial Artists Alliance. However, everyone knew that if they helped Black Wolf, they would be indirectly going against Alliance Master Shengguan. In the Martial Artists Alliance, no one was willing to provoke Alliance Master Shengguan. Even the other Vice Alliance Masters didn't dare to provoke him. Everyone stepped aside. Their intentions were clear. Since everyone else had agreed, the 5 titled Great Emperors would naturally follow their orders. The White Crane said, "Tree Emperor, since this is a grudge between you and Black Wolf, we won't interfere. However, you have to promise that you won't touch anyone else. Otherwise, even if the 5 of us die, we will annihilate your entire Tree Demon clan." Longao naturally knew why everyone had given up on him. Shengguan. As the Vice Alliance Master of the Martial Artists Alliance, Shengguan's strength and status were obvious. As long as they weren't stupid, everyone knew how to choose. Although he clearly knew, Longao still felt a little uncomfortable in his heart. "That's not a problem. This time, you entered the Burning Sky Divine Martial Arts for nothing more than the Wilderness Divine Throne. Am I right?" Hearing the Tree Emperor's words, everyone was stunned. The Wilderness Divine Throne was something that they yearned for even in their dreams. "Tree Emperor, what do you mean?" "What I mean is very simple. As long as you kill Black Wolf, I will immediately bring you to find the Wilderness Divine Throne. You know the whereabouts of the Wilderness Divine Throne?" Everyone was delighted. If the Tree Emperor could really find the Wilderness Divine Throne, it would be worth it even if they killed Black Wolf. Killing Black Wolf would not only show their goodwill to Shengguan, but they would also be able to find the Wilderness Divine Throne. It could be said that it was killing 2 birds with 1 stone. What do you think? No one was stupid. The Tree Emperor had always been in the Burning Sky Divine Realm. He definitely knew the whereabouts of the Wilderness Divine Throne. Just like that, everyone retreated and stared at Black Wolf. "Are you really going to help the Tree Emperor? Black Wolf, you killed Tingli for no reason. Although the Alliance didn't punish you, a person like you deserves to be punished. Even if we kill you, you only have yourself to blame. You can't blame anyone." Excuses? Longao naturally knew that this was just an excuse. If it weren't for the sudden appearance of the Tree Demon and the temptation of the Wilderness Divine Throne, would these people have attacked him? Unless they had nothing better to do. However, things had already happened. Longao didn't blame anyone. One Tree Emperor was enough of a headache, and now there were so many more enemies. If they all swarmed him, how was he going to deal with them? I, the Tree Emperor, can guarantee that no matter who kills this person, they will be able to obtain one of the Wilderness Divine Thrones. With the Tree Emperor's guarantee, everyone became even more greedy. Their eyes emitted cold killing intent as they slowly approached Black Wolf. The Tree Emperor stood to the side and watched coldly. He liked it when dogs fought each other. This way, he could easily deal with the other party without any effort. Why not? Black Wolf, accept your fate. Accept my fate? Would Longao choose to accept his fate? The answer was definitely no. Longao had never believed in fate. He didn't believe in it before, and he wouldn't believe it now. Chapter 965. Attack. At the command of the 5 titled Great Emperors, everyone rushed forward. All of them were Great Emperors. Even if they fought alone, Longao might not be able to win, let alone swarming over him. In an instant, everyone had already started attacking. If it were any other time, Longao could enter the dragon seal space or use spatial teleportation to leave. But now, the tree monarch had already released his aura and locked down all the surrounding areas. Longao could not do this at all. Helpless, Longao could only brace himself and choose to meet force with force. In just a few seconds, Longao was already covered in wounds. Peng! Longao was hit by the white crane's palm, and his body flew backward. For the Desolation Divine Throne, the 5 titled Great Emperors had already decided that no matter what happened, they had to kill Black Wolf. Longao was prepared to use the Annihilation Divine Bow, but he had just used it. Even if he wanted to continue, he did not have the strength to support it. He was outnumbered. What should he do? After thinking about it, Longao could not think of a better way to leave this place smoothly. No matter what, other than the disciples of the Martial Artists Alliance, there was also the Tree Monarch eyeing him covetously. Emperor Dragon's 9 Fatal Slashes, Emperor Dragon's Raging Waves, Emperor Dragon's Heaven Burial, Emperor Dragon's Strangulation, Emperor Dragon's Tyrannical Aura, Emperor Dragon's Collapse, Emperor Dragon's Meteor Explosion, Emperor Dragon's Heart Devour, Emperor Dragon's Devour, Emperor Dragon's Break the Heavens. The difference in cultivation level was usually very difficult to make up for. Longao was gradually unable to withstand it. Use the blood pool? Longao was continuously attacked by everyone. In the end, he thought of using the power of the blood pool. Because other than this method, he really could not think of a way to leave this place smoothly. Young Master Long, Big Sister will help you now. Don't resist. Hearing Bai Ling's voice, Longao was instantly overjoyed. Immediately after, Longao felt an unparalleled power enter his body, as if he was being controlled by someone. At this moment, Longao chose to believe in Xiling because he knew that he could no longer use spatial teleportation or enter the Dragon Seal space. He could only choose to accept Xiling's help. In just a few seconds, Longao felt that he was full of energy. Although there was no breakthrough in his realm, Longao's power instantly soared, especially his Massacre domain. Even a level 10 domain, or a titled Great Emperor's domain wouldn't be able to suppress it. Just as they were about to continue attacking, they sensed the powerful aura that Black Wolf suddenly released. They were all dumbfounded, not knowing what had happened. Kill! Longao unleashed his terrifying slaughter domain and began to suppress them. Longao, who had been at a disadvantage, suddenly became like a god of war, dominating the crowd of great emperors. Everyone was shocked and quickly dodged. Those who were slightly slower were directly smashed to death by Longao's fist force. Everyone was scared silly. They didn't know why He Lang, who they could kill at any time, seemed to have changed into a different person in just a few seconds. His strength had increased greatly, and he was so terrifying. When their lives were in danger, they didn't even care about the godly seat of desolation. Retreat. When everyone saw how terrifying Black Wolf was, they didn't dare to stay and scattered. As for the Wilderness Divine Throne, it was better for them to find it themselves. In fact, everyone had already guessed that Black Wolf's power was able to soar instantly because he used some kind of secret technique. The after effects of this secret technique were very terrifying. In the blink of an eye, everyone disappeared without a trace, leaving only the Tree Monarch and the Tree Demon clan. Strike while the iron is hot. Longao was very clear that although borrowing Xiling's power could instantly increase his power, there would definitely be after effects. Thus, Longao was prepared to use this opportunity to eliminate the Tree Monarch in one fell swoop. Otherwise, as long as he didn't leave the Burning Sky God realm, there would be endless trouble. Tree Monarch, you're King Cheap. I'll let you know the consequences of provoking me. The Tree Monarch was completely terrified. He could clearly sense that Longao's power had instantly soared, surpassing his own. The Tree Monarch was very clear that he was no longer Longao's match. The Tree Monarch wanted to run. Whether it was humans or spirit beasts, they were all cheap. Longao sneered. At this time, he used a divine ability that he hadn't used in a long time, Dragon Roar. Ever since he had entered the Imperial City and joined the Martial Artists Alliance, Longao had never used his divine ability in order to hide his identity. The reason was simple. Everyone on the Martial Heaven continent knew that only disciples of a Long family could awaken their divine abilities after entering the Dragon Clan's ancestral hall. In other words, those who possessed divine abilities were definitely disciples of a Long family. Longao was very clear that his identity could not be revealed. Otherwise, it would be troublesome. At the same time, the image of a giant dragon appeared behind Longao. The tree monarch was instantly petrified. He was completely stunned. He was horrified to find that the flow of time around him had changed, and his body had been locked down. He couldn't move at all. According to Longao's current strength, even if he used Dragon Roar, he wouldn't be able to lock down the tree monarch. However, the current situation was completely different. Longao had already received Zilong's power, and his power had soared. He could use Dragon Roar to lock down the tree monarch. How could Longao give up on such a rare opportunity? After locking down the tree monarch, he vanished. Because of Dragon Roar, he was no longer able to lock down the tree monarch. In other words, he could lock down the tree monarch now. Longao instantly appeared in front of the tree monarch. He coldly stared at him, the god-slaying sword appearing in his hand. "Human, I beg you, please let me go! Please let me go!" At this moment, the tree monarch was completely terrified. He knew that he was a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. As long as Longao wanted to, he could be killed at any time. When one's life was in danger, no one would be afraid. The tree monarch was no exception. However, just as Longao was about to use the god-slaying sword to kill the tree monarch, Longao suddenly changed his mind and put away the sword. The reason Longao didn't use the god-slaying sword was because he had decided to use the firmament-devouring art to forcibly devour the tree monarch. Although Longao knew very well that in his current situation, forcibly devouring the tree monarch would result in a backlash, such an opportunity wouldn't come every time. At this point, Longao couldn't care about anything else. He forcefully used the firmament-devouring art. A black vortex appeared behind him and began to crazily devour the tree monarch. No matter how the tree monarch resisted, Longao forcefully devoured it. Chapter 966. The Black Vortex. In just a few minutes, Longao had used the black vortex to forcefully devour the tree monarch. Just as he finished devouring, Xiling's power instantly disappeared. "Young Master Long, Big Sister just said that from now on, she won't use her power to help you. If that's the case, you'll have a lot of drawbacks." "I know." How could Longao not know Bailing's words? Forcefully using someone else's power was an invisible harm to oneself. Previously, he had already used Long Fu's power. In the end, he was worried about the backlash, so Longao had not continued to use Long Fu's power for a long time. However, the situation just now was a little special. Many great emperors were besieging him, and the tree monarch was eyeing him covetously from the side. If not for Xiling's help, Longao really couldn't imagine whether he would have survived. As soon as Xiling's power disappeared, Longao's expression changed abruptly. He had just used Xiling's power and the firmament-devouring art to forcefully devour the tree monarch. With his current strength, it seemed a little difficult. Not daring to be the slightest bit careless, Longao immediately sat down cross-legged and began to refine and fuse with the tree monarch's power. It was still the firmament-devouring art. He had to admit that the firmament-devouring art he had obtained from the Chaos Stone tablet was incomparably powerful. He had only just learned the basics, but he could already forcefully devour the power of a titled Great Emperor. If he had some small success, wouldn't he be able to directly devour a Supreme Tao cultivator? "Big Sister, help young Master Long." "Humph, why should I help him?" Xiling no longer wanted to kill Longao. Otherwise, she wouldn't have helped him just now. Women were like this. In the end, Xiling still helped Longao. Without Xiling's help, Longao would need at least a year to completely refine the tree monarch with his own strength. And this was based on Longao's situation. However, with Xiling's help, the speed at which Longao refined the tree monarch increased by countless times. In just 6 hours, he had completely refined the tree monarch. The next mission was for Longao to start fusing with the tree monarch's power. However, according to Long Fu, Longao's cultivation base could increase by at least 2 or even 3 levels if he fully integrated them. That meant that his cultivation base could reach the green grade Great Sovereign, or even the blue grade Great Sovereign. However, the consequence of doing so was very likely to be devoured by the power. When that happened, the consequences would be unimaginable. As a result, Longao only absorbed a third of the energy, and the rest was transferred to the 2 little fellows. This way, the 3 of them could benefit at the same time. Longao's massacre domain continued to expand. When it reached a certain level, it instantly broke through from the yellow grade Great Sovereign realm to the green grade Great Sovereign realm. If others knew about this speed of improvement, they would probably be scared to death. However, Longao only took less than 3 months to break through from the Saint Emperor realm to the green grade Great Sovereign realm. If it was someone else, would they be able to do it? In just 1 day, his cultivation base had broken through a level. Even Longao was pleasantly surprised. Standing up, Longao smiled and said, "Xiling, thank you." Humph. Xiling only snorted coldly and didn't say anything. However, Longao didn't mind. This trip to the Burning Sky Divine Realm was really full of opportunities. However, it was also full of danger. If he wasn't careful, he would fall into eternal damnation. Linger? Just as Longao was about to move and continue searching for the Desolation Divine Throne, Tong Linger's figure suddenly flashed. Longao was shocked because he already knew that Linger was dragged by Hades to cultivate. According to Hades' character, unless Ling had a substantial breakthrough in her cultivation base, she would leave to cultivate. Moreover, Longao was almost certain that with Linger's identity and strength, she must have entered the Burning Sky Divine Realm before. If so, why would Linger appear here? Longao, why are you here? She was depressed. Why couldn't she be here? However, Longao was very worried. Although he didn't treat Linger as a confidant, he treated her as a true friend. He didn't want anything to happen to Linger. Moreover, Linger was Yi Yin's junior sister. Linger, why are you here? Chuckling, Linger said, I don't want to cultivate in seclusion. It's simply torture. This time, I came to help you obtain the Desolation Divine Throne. Regarding Linger's meaning, Longao instantly already understood. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't moved. However, Longao still couldn't like Linger. Still, he had Aoshua and Yuyin. It was because of this that he couldn't hurt Linger. Longao was very clear that with Linger's identity and strength, obtaining the Desolation Divine Throne would be as easy as flipping her hand. There were a total of 6 Desolation Divine Thrones in the Burning Sky Divine Realm. Including Linger, a total of 6 titled Great Emperors from the Martial Artists Alliance had entered the Burning Sky Divine Realm. 1 for each person. 6 people just happened to have 6 Desolation Divine Thrones. As for the others, it seemed like nothing had happened. Regarding this point, Longao could not figure it out very well. Since it was certain that a titled Great Emperor would obtain the Desolation Divine Throne, why would they send other Great Emperors? It was simply a waste of time. Opportunities and luck would always be in the minority. Linger, I want to settle the Desolation Divine Throne myself. I hope you won't interfere. Longao didn't want Linger to take the risk. This was because no one knew what would happen in front of the Desolation Divine Throne. If the other Great Emperors targeted Linger in order to obtain the Desolation Divine Throne, things would be a little troublesome. Longao was even more clear that this time, he and the other Great Emperors, especially the 5 titled Great Emperors, were already in a situation where one of them had to die. Even if he didn't deal with them, he believed that they wouldn't let him go. A great battle was about to break out. This battle was unavoidable. It's up to you. However, I will always follow you. Longao, I don't have any other intentions. Even if you want to rely on yourself, it will be very difficult for you to obtain the Desolation Divine Throne. I'll still say the same thing. If necessary, I will help you. Unless you don't treat me as a friend. Since things had already come to this point, Longao nodded helplessly. After all, Ling'er had good intentions. It would be best if she didn't know. Otherwise, no one would be happy. In the following time, Longao and Ling'er searched for the Desolation Divine Throne together. Longao didn't hide anything from her and told her everything. This was because Longao clearly knew that even if he didn't tell Ling'er now, Ling'er would find out later. Rather than that, he might as well tell Ling'er earlier. Ling'er would be prepared when he fought with the others. Humph, a bunch of shameless things. Longao, don't be soft-hearted. Once you enter the Burning Sky Divine region, you can do whatever you want. The Alliance won't interfere. Even if this matter is leaked out, you will still be justified. P.S. I have something to do in the afternoon. I will continue updating when I return at night. Chapter 967. After hearing Longao's words, Ling'er was enraged to the extreme. She had never imagined that everyone would target Longao in order to obtain the Wilderness Divine Throne. If such a person were to spread back to the Alliance, she believed that even the Alliance would be furious. No matter what grudges they had before, they had to work together in front of the Tree Emperor. But what was the result? I will definitely settle this score with them. If people don't offend me, I won't offend them. If people respect me, I'll respect them tenfold. Originally, Longao didn't want to cause trouble. He wanted to find the so-called Wilderness Divine Throne peacefully. However, people were so cheap. There would always be people who had nothing better to do and wanted to find trouble with you. Longao was never afraid of trouble. Longao, you shouldn't have killed the Tree Emperor. It seems impossible for us to find the Tree Emperor alone. Eh? At this moment, Ling'er suddenly exclaimed. It seems that the 6 Wilderness Divine Thrones have appeared. Hearing this, Longao was delighted. After all, everyone hoped to obtain the Wilderness Divine Thrones after entering the Burning Sky Divine Realm this time. Ling'er, where are the Wilderness Divine Thrones? Follow me. Longao and Ling'er shot toward the east. Within the Burning Sky Divine Realm, in the depths of the easternmost area, there was an open space. It was surrounded by barren mountains and rocks. It looked extremely desolate, and gave off a feeling of desolation. At this moment, nearly 100 people had arrived at the scene. Because everyone was looking ahead excitedly. The reason was simple. In front of them, 6 stone thrones stood in a row, one next to the other, each about a meter apart. 6 Wilderness Divine Thrones. No one dared to act rashly. According to the information obtained by the Martial Artists Alliance, every time the 6 Wilderness Divine Thrones appeared, they would have a powerful attack. The slightest bit of carelessness would cause one to be directly killed by the Wilderness Divine Thrones. The power of the Wilderness Divine Thrones was abnormally terrifying. Even titled Great Emperors didn't dare to casually come into contact with them. Longao and Ling'er successfully arrived and also saw the 6 stone thrones in the distance. These are the 6 desolate divine thrones? Nodding her head, Ling'er said longingly. Longao, legend has it that there is a great opportunity in the desolate divine throne. However, after so many years, no one has been able to obtain it. Even if they were able to comprehend a martial technique, it would not be a martial technique that would shock the heavens and earth. A great opportunity. Longao was very clear that it was not easy to obtain a great opportunity. Otherwise, everyone would be able to obtain a great opportunity. Longao. Back then, there was an old ancestor of the Alliance who obtained a powerful martial skill from the desolate divine throne. His cultivation base increased rapidly, and he finally broke through the Nirvana realm and dominated the world. Ling'er, there's something I don't understand. Why can't Divine Way practitioners enter the Burning Sky Divine region? Regarding this point, Longao could not figure it out very well. Since great emperors could enter, why couldn't supreme gods and supreme gods enter? Could there be something fishy about it? Longao, there's something you don't know. For some reason, the burning sky divine region is enveloped by a mysterious power. Once great emperors and above enter, they will trigger this mysterious power and be obliterated. Even Nirvana realm practitioners will be killed. Hearing this, Longao was shocked. He was very clear about what the Nirvana realm meant. In other words, it was impossible for even the godly mathematician and the heavenly Tao to enter the burning sky divine region. It was hard to imagine that there was actually someone in the Tianwu continent who could resist a Nirvana realm practitioner. Why aren't they fighting for the desolate divine thrones? Longao was very curious. No matter what, there were already 6 desolate divine thrones in front of them. Under normal circumstances, everyone would fight to the death for the desolate divine thrones when they saw them. But now, everyone stared at the 6 desolate divine thrones in front of them with greedy faces, but they didn't move. Longao, don't be reckless. The 6 desolate divine thrones have just appeared and possess terrifying offensive power. Not to mention you and me, even if great emperors came, they wouldn't be able to block the attack of the desolate divine thrones. He was startled. Even great emperors couldn't block the attack of the desolate divine thrones. What kind of concept was that? Longao finally knew why everyone didn't dare to fight for the desolate divine thrones when they saw them appear. There was a reason. Linger, what should we do now? Longao was very clear that Linger had definitely entered the burning sky divine region and obtained the desolate divine thrones. That was why he asked? He believed that Linger definitely knew what to do. After thinking for a while, Linger said, "Wait. According to my estimation, if nothing unexpected happens, the desolate divine throne's offensive power will disappear in 3 days. At that time, whoever can obtain the desolate divine thrones will depend on their own ability." Depend on their own ability? Longao was helpless. After all, there were 6 desolate divine thrones. If over 100 people fought for them, 5 of them would definitely be taken by the 5 titled great emperors. As for the last desolate divine throne, it was easy to imagine how intense the battle would be with over 90 people fighting for it. Not to mention, now that Ling had joined in, 6 titled great emperors would occupy 6 desolate divine thrones. Would the rest still have a chance? Longao, 3 days later, I will help you obtain the desolate divine thrones. Remember, no matter what happens, you can't be soft-hearted. Remember, being merciful to the enemy is the greatest cruelty to yourself. Of course, Longao clearly understood those words. However, he still said, Linger, other than obtaining the savage divine throne, the more important reason for me to enter the burning heaven divine region this time is to gain experience. Therefore, I hope that you won't do anything 3 days later. I want to see if I can carve out a bloody path and obtain the savage divine throne with my own strength. Linger stared at the youth beside her. She really admired Longao's character. He would never admit defeat. No matter what difficulties he encountered, no matter how strong the enemy was, he would persevere until the end. Such a person was also someone who could move her heart. However, for her senior sister, for the person she loved, and even more so for herself, Linger didn't continue to express her feelings. However, Linger naturally wouldn't give up. She wouldn't give up in the past, now, and in the future. Longao, I will support you from behind. The desolate divine thrones will depend on your luck. If you can comprehend on the desolate divine thrones for a month, even if you can't obtain a great opportunity, I believe that it will bring unexpected benefits to your cultivation. Do you know that back then, I obtained the desolate divine thrones 3 times and comprehended them for 3 whole months to achieve what I have today? So that's how it was. Longao knew that Linger was able to become a titled great emperor. Other than her own talent, external help was also very important. Chapter 968. Obtaining the Desolation Divine Throne 3 times in a row? Longao was a little speechless. It was as difficult as ascending the heavens for others to obtain it once, but Linger had obtained it 3 times in a row. It seemed that comparisons were odious. 3 days wasn't a long time, but it wasn't a short time either. Everyone was eager to give it a try. Once the power of the Desolation Divine Throne disappeared in 3 days, everyone would fight for it. In front of the Desolation Divine Throne, there was no friendship, no alliance, only profit and greed. At that time, in order to fight for the Desolation Divine Throne, even killing each other would be a common thing. Longao and Linger stood quietly on the spot. The two of them didn't relax in the slightest. Within the Dragon Seal space. Long Fu, have you already sensed that the Desolation Divine Throne has some secret? Longao's soul had entered the Dragon Seal space, so even if Linger was beside him, she still didn't know what Longao was doing. Long Fu shook his head with a helpless expression. Master, I've already sensed it. The 6 Desolation Divine Thrones are very mysterious. I can't enter them at all. Hearing Long Fu's words, Longao was shocked. Because of Long Fu's strength, even Long Fu couldn't enter the Desolation Divine Thrones. One could imagine what the Desolation Divine Thrones meant. Long Fu, no matter what, we have to find the secret of the Desolation Divine Thrones. I don't know why, but when I saw the Desolation Divine Thrones, I felt the blood in my body boiling as if it was about to spurt out. I couldn't control it. Regarding this matter, other than Long Fu, Longao didn't tell anyone else, not even Linger. Longao also didn't know what was going on with him. Because of this, he was determined to find out what was going on with the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones. It seemed to be related to his blood. Master, I have to remind you that the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones are no small matter. Unless it's absolutely necessary, don't touch them. How could Longao not know about this? But now that things had come to this, he had to get to the bottom of the matter. In fact, Longao had already decided in his heart that since the Wilderness Divine Throne could stir the blood in his body, then he might be able to find out who had sealed the bloodline in his body. His bloodline was sealed. All these years, he had never known. Seeing that his master had already made up his mind, Long Fu didn't say anything else. Linger and Longao's whereabouts had long been discovered by others. Especially when they saw Linger, no one had expected that the eldest daughter of the Martial Artists Alliance would suddenly enter the Burning Sky God realm. Without a doubt. With Linger's status and strength, obtaining one of the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones was as easy as flipping one's hand. Thus, no one was willing to compete with Linger. Linger and the other 5 titled Great Emperors made up 6 Desolation Divine Thrones. What about the others? Under normal circumstances, even with Linger's appearance, the 5 titled Great Emperors wouldn't be worried at all. However, the situation was completely different now. There was an extra black wolf, a black wolf who had almost killed them earlier. Although they didn't know how the black wolf had done it, everyone was clear that if the black wolf did that, their lives would be in danger. Everyone was a little nervous because things were getting more and more troublesome. The 6 Desolation Divine Thrones were right in front of them. Not to mention Black Wolf and the 6 titled Great Emperors, just the other Great Emperors, including Dazzling Man, wanted to obtain the Desolation Divine Thrones. The legends of the Martial Artists Alliance's seniors were still vivid in everyone's minds. Everyone hoped to reach that level. The temptation of the Desolation Divine Thrones was huge. Because of this, even Crimson Grade Great Emperors could challenge titled Great Emperors in order to obtain the Desolation Divine Thrones. Although it was impossible, sometimes, when a person went crazy, it was still very scary. Unknowingly, everyone's spearhead was pointed at the Black Wolf. The reason was very simple. The strength that the Black Wolf had displayed previously was a little too strong. Time passed by bit. As the time approached, everyone became more and more nervous. Each and every one of them was eager to give it a try. They were all prepared. Once the time was up, when the attacking power of the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones disappeared, everyone would rush forward and frantically snatch the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones. The 3rd day passed in the blink of an eye. There were still 2 hours before the attack power of the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones disappeared without a trace. At that time, all the great emperors from all directions would crazily fight for the Desolation Divine Thrones. At that time, it would be possible for the land to be littered with corpses. Longao, wait for me. I'll hold off the others. You just focus on fighting for the Desolation Divine Thrones. Hearing Linger's words, Longao was helpless to the extreme. He had always said that he didn't need help, but Linger seemed to have forgotten. Linger, I've already said that I don't need your help. Stay here obediently. Do you understand? The 6 Desolation Divine Thrones were right in front of them. When the time came, it would be a mess. Longao was very worried that something would happen to Linger. Linger didn't say anything, but her eyes were darting around. 2 hours later, the auras of the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones disappeared instantly. At this moment, the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones no longer had any attack power. At this moment, everyone in the surroundings, who had been ready to make a move, shot towards the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones. The 5 titled Great Emperors took the lead. In the process of flying, everyone had already started fighting with each other. In just a few seconds, dozens of people had already died. One could imagine how intense the competition was. Before Longao could say anything, Linger's body also darted out. 6 titled Great Emperors could totally occupy 6 Desolation Divine Thrones. Under normal circumstances, no one would dare to find trouble with titled Great Emperors. However, at this moment, the temptation of the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones was too great. Everyone's eyes were red with killing intent. It could also be said that they were blinded by the temptation. They didn't care about their own lives and started attacking the 5 titled Great Emperors ruthlessly. Linger's identity was there. Therefore, everyone had already reached an agreement. No matter what the final result was, one of the 6 Desolation Divine Thrones would be given to Linger. Looking at the situation around her, Linger was instantly delighted. She had already sent a message to Longao using spirit stones. After all, she had already obtained the Desolation Divine Thrones. Even if there was a 4th time, it wouldn't be of any use. From the beginning to the end, Linger had been helping Longao obtain the Desolation Divine Thrones. Seeing that Linger didn't actually give them the Desolation Divine Thrones, everyone was furious. They all started to obstruct Longao. Although they didn't dare to attack Linger, it didn't mean that they were afraid of Longao. In front of the Desolation Divine Thrones, everyone had already forgotten about Longao's terrifying strength. Chapter 969. Many people chose to attack Longao. In the end, unknowingly, everyone had already treated Longao as an outsider. After all, Longao had offended Shanghai. How dare you! Seeing that many people chose to attack Longao, Linger was instantly enraged. She immediately shot towards Longao. Everyone stop! The white crane let out an angry roar. Everyone, including Linger and Longao, all stopped. What did the white crane mean? Linger, I know what you mean. The 5 of us will each take 1 Wilderness Divine Throne. As for the remaining Wilderness Divine Throne, it will be up to their own abilities. What do you think? Before Ling could answer, a sword chi of dragon roar had already shot towards the white crane. He was startled. The white crane had never thought that Black Wolf would actually dare to attack him at this moment. He was simply courting death. Before everyone could figure out the situation, a dragon roar resounded. Then, a huge illusory dragon shadow appeared behind Longao. Originally, ever since Longao joined the Martial Artists Alliance, he did not want to reveal his identity. Therefore, he would not use his divine ability unless it was absolutely necessary. However, the situation was critical now. If he was careless, the 6 Wilderness Divine Thrones would be taken by others. At that time, it would be almost impossible for him to obtain the Wilderness Divine Thrones. According to Linger, no matter who it was, as long as they could sit on the Wilderness Divine Thrones, no one would be able to get close to them. Until 1 month later, when the Burning Sky Divine Domain reopened. The reason why Longao used his divine ability was that the blood in his body had suddenly boiled. He was very clear that the boiling of his blood had something to do with the 6 wilderness divine thrones. Because of this, Longao decided that no matter what happened, he had to obtain one of the wilderness divine thrones. As a last resort, he could only use his divine ability, Dragon Roar. Longao's cultivation had successfully broken through to the green-grade Great Emperor realm. Correspondingly, the power of his divine ability, Dragon Roar, had also increased tremendously. Powerful dragon breath enveloped everyone in the surroundings. Before anyone could react, they all felt the change in the flow of space around them. Even their bodies were locked down. Even the 5 titled Great Emperors were locked down. They needed at least 2 seconds to move. What kind of concept was that? If it was an ordinary martial artist, even if they had 2 seconds, wanting to seize the wilderness divine throne would be an extremely impossible task. However, Longao's situation was completely different. With the help of spatial teleportation, Longao's body instantly disappeared. After a few disappearances, Longao arrived in front of the wilderness divine throne. The lock was removed. Seeing that Black Wolf had already arrived in front of the wilderness divine throne, everyone was shocked, especially the 5 titled Great Emperors. Their expressions were extremely gloomy. Under their watch, Black Wolf actually managed to beat them to it. Black Wolf, how dare you! Since things had already come to this point, how could he not dare? Longao doubted the intelligence of the people in front of him. Did they really think that he was an ordinary disciple who didn't dare to provoke them? In Longao's eyes, he didn't put these people in his eyes. Otherwise, he wouldn't have taken the initiative to attack them. Ling-Er, step aside. Seeing that Longao's expression wasn't too good, Ling-Er nodded and slowly walked to the side. She didn't know why, but Ling-Er trusted Longao very much now, even if the other party had 5 titled Great Emperors and many other Great Emperors. Black Wolf, with your identity and strength, you don't have the qualifications to obtain the wilderness divine throne. You should know the consequences. He said coldly as the 5 titled Great Emperors approached step by step. Their intentions were very clear. As long as Black Wolf dared to obtain the wilderness divine throne, they wouldn't show any mercy. Even if they killed Black Wolf, no one would leak this matter out. Ling-Er stood at the side and stared at everyone. Although she believed in Longao's strength, she wouldn't sit still and wait for death if everyone dared to swarm him. At that time, she wouldn't hesitate to start a massacre. Ignoring everyone. He sneered. Of course, Longao wouldn't be afraid of any threat. He immediately turned around, went to the wilderness divine throne in the middle, and sat down. It's over. Seeing that Black Wolf had already sat down on the wilderness divine throne, everyone was shocked. One of the 6 wilderness divine thrones had already been obtained by Black Wolf. Only 5 wilderness divine thrones were left. Humans were like this. Just a moment ago, they were eager to give it a try. Now that they saw that Black Wolf had already obtained the wilderness divine throne, everyone didn't continue to dawdle. They immediately started to fight for the remaining wilderness divine thrones. The 5 titled Great Emperors immediately released their killing intent. Their intentions were very clear. They wouldn't hesitate to kill anyone who dared to snatch the wilderness divine thrones. The strength of titled Great Emperors was there for all to see. Not to mention ordinary Great Emperors, even gold-grade Great Emperors wouldn't dare to clash head-on with titled Great Emperors. Just like this, the 5 titled Great Emperors smoothly arrived in front of the 5 wilderness divine thrones. As for whether the other Great Emperors could obtain the wilderness divine thrones, it didn't matter. As long as they could obtain the wilderness divine thrones, everything would be fine. However, what happened next stunned everyone. Chapter 970. Within the Burning Sky God Realm. A month passed in the blink of an eye. If he couldn't enter the wilderness divine throne, wouldn't he have come in vain? Seeing that Black Wolf had successfully entered the wilderness divine throne, everyone was furious and glared at him. Everyone was furious, only Ling was happy. Due to Linger's strength, No one dared to deal with her. 6 Wilderness God clan members. On the Wilderness Divine Throne in the middle. Longao sat down on the Wilderness Divine Throne. Before he could figure out what was going on, he was immediately shocked. At this moment, Longao felt the blood in his body begin to churn like boiling water. Gurgle, gurgle. Could it be the Wilderness Divine Throne? Longao became more and more convinced that the bloodline in his body was related to the Wilderness Divine Throne. Otherwise, it would be impossible for the blood in his body to churn like this just as he sat on the Wilderness Divine Throne. He didn't dare to be the slightest bit careless. Longao immediately circulated the power in his body and began to suppress the boiling blood in his body. However, this little bit of power could be said to be negligible. Long Fu, what happened? Next, Longao found that he could no longer contact the Wilderness Divine Throne. Helpless, he could only sense Xiling and Bailing, hoping to get the help of the 2 Jianling. No matter what, Xiling and Bailing were very powerful. Even if they weren't as powerful as the divine mathematician and Tian Dao, he believed that there wasn't much difference. Longao could almost say that whether it was Xiling or Bailing, he believed that their cultivation had reached the legendary Nirvana realm. Longao, 6 Wilderness Divine Thrones are no small matter. Although I haven't sensed where the Wilderness Divine Throne came from, I have to remind you that the Wilderness Divine Throne seems to be related to your bloodline. As expected, Longao had obviously sensed this point, but the problem now was that he didn't know what to do. Xiling. Without waiting for Longao to ask, Bailing said, Young Master Long, immediately seal off your bloodline. You must not allow the Desolation Divine Throne to control your bloodline. Otherwise, even if a rebirth realm martial artist personally descends, they will not be able to save you. Hearing Bailing's words, Longao was also shocked. If it had been Xiling, he might not have believed it, but if it was Bailing, he would definitely believe it. Because Longao knew very well that Bailing would not lie. Sealing the bloodline? Longao didn't dare to be careless. Of course, he knew what Xiling and Bailing were talking about. He immediately channeled all of his power and forcefully sealed his bloodline. A dragon's roar sounded. Longao didn't know that as soon as he sealed his bloodline, a dragon's roar sounded in his body. Then, a huge illusory dragon's shadow appeared behind Longao's back. It looked down coldly at everything in front of it as if it was a king descending to the world. Everyone was dumbfounded again. How many secrets did Black Wolf have? It was a little too scary. Just now, when Longao used his supernatural power to lock onto their bodies, everyone was a little suspicious, but they didn't think too much about it. No one would have thought that a disciple of the Martial Artists Alliance would be from a Long family. Not to mention that they hadn't seen it with their own eyes. Even if they had seen it with their own eyes, it was hard to believe that it was true. But at this moment, everyone looked at the illusory dragon's shadow behind Black Wolf. Almost everyone guessed that even if Black Wolf wasn't from a Long family, it was inseparable from a Long family. Who on earth is Black Wolf? Everyone shook their heads helplessly. Because until this moment, they helplessly realized that they didn't know Black Wolf at all. They knew nothing about Black Wolf's past. The illusory dragon's shadow released a terrifying aura. Without giving anyone time to think, it directly enveloped everyone. Locked onto. Everyone was locked onto again. Bai He and the others wanted to leave this place first, but at this time, they were horrified to find that no matter what they did, they couldn't move at all. Longao knew nothing about the outside world. He didn't know what was going on at all. The bloodline in his body was forcefully sealed. Longao wanted to see if the Wilderness God Throne still wanted to control him. Besides this, Longao heard that there were powerful martial skills in the 6 Wilderness God Thrones. If he could sense the martial skills, it would be a great help to his own strength. Longao certainly wouldn't choose to give up such a rare opportunity. Xiling, what should I do now? Longao, I'm very curious. Why is your bloodline sealed by a mysterious power? I just sensed the power of the seal. It's too powerful. Let alone by Ling and me, even if the God Diviner and the Heavenly Daos came, they wouldn't be able to undo the seal. The God Diviner and the Heavenly Taoist were the strongest existences on the martial heaven continent. Longao was even more shocked by Xiling's words. He found it hard to imagine just who had sealed his bloodline. Even the God Diviner and the Heavenly Taoist were unable to undo the seal. If even the two of them were unable to undo the seal, then it was obvious just how powerful the power that had sealed his bloodline was. Xiling, can you sense the power that sealed my bloodline? What is the true body strength? Longao really wanted to know about this. He didn't know why, but he always felt that something was wrong with this matter. As for what was wrong, he couldn't sense it at all. I can't sense it for now, but I can tell you that the person who sealed you is not weaker than the Heavenly Taoist. In fact, it's very likely that they are the Heavenly Taoist themselves. So you should know what your current situation is. Someone on the same level as the Heavenly Taoist? Longao was extremely depressed. There was only one existence on the same level as the Heavenly Taoist, and that was the so-called God Diviner. Could it be that the God Diviner had sealed his bloodline? That didn't seem likely, but Longao knew that Xiling had no reason to lie to him. Things were getting more and more strange. If it really was as Xiling said, then this matter was truly troublesome. If the Tao of Heaven and Master God Diviner were implicated, then Meng Hao would be in grave danger. After all, no one knew why such a powerful martial artist would want to seal his own bloodline. After all, back in the day, he had been nothing more than a piece of trash from Crimson Flame Town, someone who had been bullied and humiliated. Young Master Long, your bloodline is extremely powerful. Even the bloodline of the dragon race pales in comparison to yours. This person sealed your bloodline because he did not want it to awaken. My sister and I have been sensing your bloodline for a long time now, and we discovered it. Bai Ling didn't continue speaking at this point. It seemed that there was something that she couldn't say. Bai Ling, if there's anything you want to say, just say it. Young Master Long, since that's the case, I'll tell you. The bloodline in your body is related to your background. If you want to know more about your bloodline, you'd better go back to your family and ask them yourself. Chapter 971. Family? Regarding the family's matters, Longao naturally knew everything clearly. His family belonged to the Long clan. According to Bai Ling, didn't that mean that the bloodline in his body was sealed by the experts of the Long clan? After thinking about it, he still felt that it was impossible. What was going on? Longao, don't say that I didn't warn you. Your family is not simple. Sister is talking about your family, not Long family. Nodding, Longao knew what Xiling meant. According to what Bai Ling and Xiling said, there was really a problem with his family. But since he was young, he knew his family like the back of his hand. The strongest warrior in his family had not broken through to the Xiantian realm. How could such a warrior seal his bloodline? Could it be the ancestor, Long Batian? All of a sudden, Long Batian's figure flashed in Longao's mind. But the strongest warrior in his family was the ancestor, Long Batian, who had reincarnated 6 times. Longao could almost say that if the ancestor succeeded in reincarnating this time, he would be able to break through to the supreme divine path. As for the Nirvana realm, it seemed that one could only reach it after reincarnating 8 or 9 times. It was impossible for a supreme divine path warrior to be so powerful. Things were getting more and more complicated, and more simple and blurred. Helplessly shaking his head, Longao did not continue to think about this problem. It was Bai Ling's idea to find out what was going on. After leaving the Burning Sky God domain and seeing Yuan, he immediately left the Sky Martial continent and returned to his family in the Jiuzhou continent. No matter what, he had to find out why his bloodline was sealed. After sealing his bloodline, the Wilderness Divine Throne stopped for a while. Longao did not give up this rare opportunity. He immediately comprehended the Wilderness Divine Throne, hoping to comprehend a powerful martial skill. Before Longao could calm down and comprehend the martial skill, the Wilderness Divine Throne, which had just stopped, suddenly began to devour. He was startled. Not daring to be careless, Longao immediately went all out to block the attack. However, with his bloodline forcibly sealed, Longao's strength was greatly reduced. Longao was horrified to discover that his soul was being pulled by the Desolation Divine Throne. Longao used all his strength, but in the end, he was still unable to resist the devouring of the Desolation Divine Throne. His soul was instantly devoured. The 6 godly Desolation Thrones quietly stood side by side. Only Longao was sitting on one of the godly Desolation Thrones. Everyone around was so scared that they didn't dare to move. Behind Longao, there was an illusory dragon silhouette that was tens of thousands of feet long. It stared coldly at everyone. No matter who it was, even Linger, they all felt a sense of dread. If they moved recklessly, they would definitely be obliterated by the dragon seal. Who was Longao? It was impossible for them not to be envious and jealous of him. Everyone was depressed to the extreme. Out of the 6 godly Desolation Thrones, only Longao had obtained one of them. As for the remaining 5 godly Desolation Thrones, no one would be able to obtain them. Everyone pushed the responsibility to Longao, as if it was Longao who caused them to be unable to obtain the godly Desolation Thrones. The 5 titled Great Emperors, Wan Zhang, Bai He, Lu Guan, Yin Xiuxiu, and He Hu, looked at each other. Even Bai He and He Hu, who had the biggest grudge, nodded their heads. Other than Xian Mu, Yi Xuan, Ma Tianyu, Xiao Hu, and Enli, the rest of you will join forces to attack Black Wolf. Begin. After much consideration, the 5 of them finally decided that they couldn't just sit and wait for death. Otherwise, they wouldn't have any more chances. The 5 of them also decided that other than the 5 of them, the remaining 5 gold-grade Great Emperors couldn't be harmed. As for the others, even if they died, it had nothing to do with them. One had to admit that the 5 of them were shameless to the extreme. They wanted everyone else to be cannon fodder so that they could reap the benefits. How could the other great emperors not know what the 5 of them meant? However, did they have a choice? No choice at all. Everyone knew that if they didn't take action, even if they could leave the Burning Sky Divine region alive, the 5 titled great emperors would think of ways to deal with them. Since they were going to die anyway, they might as well give it a try. Other than the 5 titled Great Emperors and the 5 gold-grade Great Emperors, the rest of them gathered together and started to attack Black Wolf. However, the next scene made everyone tremble with fear. Just as everyone attacked Longao, the giant dragon shadow behind Longao suddenly released a terrifying dragon breath that pressed down on everyone. It directly crushed everyone. What kind of concept was this? Everyone didn't even have the chance to escape. Seeing this situation, whether it was the 5 titled Great Emperors, the 5 gold-grade Great Emperors, or Linger, they all looked at the giant dragon shadow behind Black Wolf in horror. None of them had expected the giant dragon shadow to be so terrifying. Its strength was simply too strong. With the previous example, the remaining 10 of them didn't dare to move at all when they saw that there wasn't even a corpse left behind. The 10 of them were very clear that since the giant dragon shadow could kill so many great emperors in one move, it could also kill the 10 of them in one move. Linger stared at the young man on the wilderness divine seat. Among so many people, she was the only one who knew Longao's true identity. Linger really hoped that Longao could reach the wilderness divine seat, but she definitely didn't want the others to die. No matter what, the people who entered the Burning Sky Divine region this time were all outstanding disciples of the Martial Artists Alliance. If one of them died, there would be one less disciple. To the Martial Artists Alliance, it was definitely not a good thing. However, things had already developed to this stage, and Linger was also helpless. If she had to choose between Longao and the other disciples, she would choose Longao without hesitation. No one dared to move. The giant dragon shadow behind Longao was like a king looking down on the world. It looked down on everyone in front of it. If anyone dared to move, it would immediately kill them. The giant dragon shadow didn't even need to make a move. It just used its aura to crush the opponent. Such terrifying strength was something that even a Supreme Tao warrior couldn't do, unless it was a Supreme Tao warrior. Just when no one dared to move. Just a moment ago, there were still 6 savage divine thrones. Suddenly, the 6 savage divine thrones moved. In an instant, they formed a circle from a row. In the center, a golden savage divine throne appeared. Longao also moved from the savage divine throne to the golden savage divine throne. What the hell is going on? Seeing an untamed divine throne suddenly appear in front of them, everyone was completely stupefied. In all these years, there had only been 6 untamed divine thrones in the burning heaven divine region. When did a 7th untamed divine throne appear? Not only that. Black Wolf, who had just entered the burning sky divine region for the first time, was able to summon another wilderness divine seat and move it. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed it even if they were beaten to death. Chapter 972. The 6 Desolation God Thrones surrounded the Desolation God Throne on the Golden Mountain. Longao sat quietly on the Desolation God Throne in the middle with his eyes closed. 7 stars aligned. The 7 Desolation God Thrones shot out beams of light. Looking from afar, it was a spectacular sight. Longao's soul had been devoured by the Desolation God Thrones. As for the transfer of his body, even he did not know what was going on. Within a rainbow-colored space. 7 colors. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, purple. They were all the colors of the rainbow. Even the airflow in the air had a mysterious feel to it. Longao stood in the rainbow-colored space and carefully observed his surroundings. He was fully alert. Until now, Longao still did not know what was going on. Longao tried to communicate with Long Fu, Bai Ling, and Xiling. But no matter how hard he tried, he could not sense anything. Fighting alone. The more mysterious something was, the more worried one would be. Longao was no exception. Since things had come to this, Longao did not sit still and wait for his death. Step by step he walked forward. Pew 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 pew. At this moment, Longao suddenly heard the sound of pew pew. Shocked, he looked left and right. If he did not look, he would not have known. But when he did, he was shocked. It turned out that in Longao's surroundings, endless small snakes appeared in all directions. Each small snake was only as long as a finger, but their eyes were surprisingly big. They were as big as an eye, and they were flickering with blood-black radiance. Void Saint Spirit beasts? In an instant, Longao sensed that among the countless small snakes in front of him, the weakest were illusionary divine spiritual beasts, and there were even emperor spiritual beasts. A mountain of snakes and a sea of snakes. At a glance, it was a densely packed black mass. Not to mention fighting, just looking at it would make one's scalp tingle. He did not dare to be careless. Longao knew that even if he did not attack, these mysterious snakes would attack him. Since that was the case, he might as well take the initiative to attack. Who knows, he might have a chance of survival. His soul energy was definitely inferior to the main bodies. Longao made a rough calculation. His current soul strength could only reach the level of a yellow-grade great emperor. Facing the endless attacks of the little snakes, he probably wouldn't even last a minute. What the hell is this place? Longao instantly punched out with both of his fists. Fist energy shot out in all directions. The terrifying fist energy was like a killing machine, constantly reaping the life of the mysterious little snake. With Longnao's current abilities, even if his soul was not as strong as his actual body, he could still kill an illusionary divine spiritual beast within seconds. As soon as it appeared, it began to devour the mysterious little snakes. Although the Heishu's realm wasn't much, its appetite was surprisingly big. Especially the mysterious little snakes that were afraid of the Heishu. They didn't resist at all and allowed the Heishu to devour them. The Heishu seemed to be protecting Longao. After it appeared, it constantly turned into a black shadow around Longao and devoured the mysterious little snakes that were attacking from all directions. Longao didn't continue to attack. He quietly stood in the center. Since the Heishu could help him devour the mysterious little snakes, why would he stupidly continue to attack? Longao was shocked by the Heishu's power. It was also because of this that he became more and more afraid. No matter what, the Heishu was the artifact spirit of the blood pool. According to Long Fu, once the Heishu awakened and controlled the blood pool, the consequences would be unimaginable. If there was an accident, even the dragon seal space wouldn't be able to continue sealing the blood pool. If that was the case, Longao didn't know what to do. Longao was also hesitating whether he should destroy the Heishu or not. Although the Heishu was the artifact spirit of the blood pool, if he could control the Heishu, then it would be equivalent to controlling the blood pool. At that time, with the blood pool in his hands, even if he encountered a divine realm martial artist, he wouldn't need to be afraid. Opportunity. Crisis. How should he choose? There had never been a time when it was so difficult to choose. However, Longao was very clear that the Heishu wouldn't awaken for the time being. Therefore, he didn't have to make a decision yet. The Heishu's speed was too fast. It turned into a black shadow and constantly shuttled around Longao's body. It was impossible to know how many mysterious little snakes the Heishu had devoured, because the surrounding mysterious little snakes were endless. Even after devouring for such a long time, it was still endless. P.S. Just now, our Alliance Master requested for more chapters. Little Nine eagerly agreed. Explode tomorrow. Chapter 973. There was no end to the mysterious snakes. Looking at the black mass around him, Longao's heart was also very heavy. Under such circumstances, no one knew how many mysterious snakes there were. Longao began to carefully observe the surrounding environment. Huh! At this moment, Longao suddenly saw a small snake on the left front. Its color was completely different from the other small snakes. It was a blood-red snake. Even in the black mass, it was very conspicuous. Could it be that the blood-red snake was the key? Since things had come to this point, Longao was very clear that even if there was a slim chance of survival, he had to grasp it. In a moment of life and death. However, Longao was even more clear that with his strength, it was impossible for him to destroy the blood-red snake. It was even impossible for him to go over. In other words, the only way now was to use Heishu's power to slowly approach the blood-red snake and find a chance to destroy it to see if he could succeed. Longao tried to communicate with Heishu. Although he couldn't understand Heishu's words, Longao knew that Heishu could definitely understand his words. Longao was overjoyed. He followed Heishu and slowly approached the blood-red snake. He had to admit that Heishu was really the nemesis of the snake. If it encountered an ordinary spirit beast, would Heishu still be able to do this? Heishu continued to devour the mysterious snakes around him. Longao gradually found that as Heishu continued to devour more and more small snakes, Heishu's aura began to gradually grow stronger. In just a few minutes, Heishu's strength had more than doubled. What kind of concept was this? In a short while, Longao and Heishu had already arrived at the blood-red snake's side. Kill it! Longao directly ordered. No matter what would happen in the future, at least for now, Heishu still listened to Longao's words. Heishu didn't continue to circle Longao and directly rushed toward the blood-red snake. With Heishu's speed, it was a matter of a blink of an eye. Without Heishu's help, countless small snakes around him attacked Longao at the same time. Firmament devouring skill. In the end, Longao used the firmament devouring art. A huge black vortex appeared behind Longao. While his fists were still punching out, the black vortex also began to spin. In other words, it began to devour the small snakes around it. At the other side, the blood-red snake was already engaged in a fierce battle with the black rat. The blood-red snake was not like an ordinary snake. It was quite powerful. Even Heishu could not kill it instantly. He could not even kill the blood-red snake immediately. In this way, Longao would have to face the endless stream of small snakes alone. The firmament-devouring art continued to devour the small black snakes around him. But no matter what, there were too many mysterious snakes in the surroundings, and there was an endless stream of them. With no other choice, the god-slaying sword appeared in Longao's hand. As the dragon's roar rang out, the Emperor Dragon's 9 slaughter transformed into countless sword chi, which was the so-called Dragon's Roar sword chi. Sword chi rampaged. Longao used his body as a medium and began to spin. As the black vortex continued to devour, sword chi shot out in all directions, reaping the lives of countless small snakes. Mother Fasterus cur! Cursing out fiercely, Longao did not continue devouring. Instead, he fused the firmament-devouring art and the Emperor Dragon's 9 slaughter together. Wielding the sword with both hands, he slashed out at the blood-red snake. This was a sword that contained all of Longao's might. Even if it was used to shock the entire world, it wouldn't be an exaggeration. The might of the sword she combined with the dragon's roar was extremely horrifying. Like a thunderbolt, the sword she slashed down instantly. The dragon's roar boomed out. Wherever the sword she passed by, no matter how strong the mysterious snakes were, they were all turned into nothingness. In other words, they were devoured by the sword chi. One could only imagine how horrifying the might of this sword was. Longao had already informed the black rat. At the same time that the sword she slashed out, the black rat had already left. The sword she sliced through the void, causing the surrounding space to tremble. By the time the countless small snakes were devoured, the sword she had already arrived before the blood-red snake. Hiss! 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 Before the blood-red snake could even react, the sword she had already slashed down mercilessly on its body. In Longao's opinion, even if the other party was a spirit beast of a titled Great Emperor, it wouldn't be able to defend against this sword strike of his with all his might. Regarding this, he was still pretty confident. But in the end? After the sword she passed by, the blood-red snake wasn't killed. If that was the case, the defensive capabilities of the blood-red snake's physical body seemed to be way too horrifying. Even such a horrifying sword she couldn't kill it. Longao was a little stumped as well. However, before he could figure out why the sword she couldn't kill the blood-red snake, the surrounding snakes started attacking once more. Wielding the god-slaying sword, Longao once again stepped into the battle of killing the small snakes for self-defense. The black rat continued to engage in a fierce battle with the blood-red snakes. Longao and the black rat began to regroup slowly. If this were to continue, things would go on endlessly. In the end, it wouldn't be beneficial to Longao at all. The rainbow-colored space was boundless. One couldn't see the end of it with a single glance. The entire space was empty. There were no mountains, no water, no flowers, no sun, no moon, no sky, no earth, nothing. The entire space was like a sealed paper box. As for the surrounding snakes, they seemed to have appeared out of thin air. As for where these snakes came from, no one knew. The black vortex behind Longao's back began to fade slowly. This also meant that Longao was also beginning to feel tired and somewhat powerless. After all, the little snakes around him were endless and unending. Not to mention Longao, even if a supreme Dao martial artist came in person, he believed that he wouldn't be able to last for 2 hours, or even half an hour. Longao persevered bitterly. Even though he knew that if the black rat couldn't kill the blood-red snakes, his chances of survival would be close to zero, Longao still wouldn't choose to give up. For so many years, he had encountered countless dangers. However, he had never given up. In the past, he wouldn't give up. In the future, he wouldn't give up either. This was Longao. This was the Longao who had persevered for so many years. Even when Longao was ridiculed and humiliated countless years ago, he still didn't give up. Otherwise, he wouldn't have come this far. Persevere. Continue to persevere. No matter what, he had to persevere. Longao gritted his teeth and persevered. The god-slaying sword in his hand shot out countless sword chi. The black vortex behind him continued to devour the snakes. Longao was like a god of death, constantly reaping the lives of the surrounding snakes. In just a few minutes, it seemed that he had killed tens of thousands of snakes. This was a terrifying number. Crack! Longao was attacked by the snakes and spat out blood. Just when his life was hanging by a thread, a dragon roar and a tiger roar sounded at the same time. Then, the two little guys, Long Chang and Longao, appeared in the rainbow-colored space at the same time. One on the left and one on the right, respectively, appeared on the left and right of Longao. Chapter 974. The Roar of a Dragon and a Tiger. Longao was very surprised, because he never thought that at this time, the two little fellows would suddenly appear here. After sensing for a while, Longao discovered that whether it was Long Chang or Long Ming, either of them had entered the rainbow space with their true bodies. In other words, the two little fellows had entered with their souls, just like him. This situation was very helpless. He and Heishu could enter with their souls, but they could not communicate with the dragon's seal space. There was also Bai Ling and Xiling. Long Chang, what are you doing here? Longao was not surprised at all. Instead, he was a little solemn. The surrounding snakes were still attacking continuously. He was alone with the help of the two little guys. It was almost the same treatment. Big brother, let us help you. Help me? Longao was even more surprised because he knew the strength of the two little guys. They were almost at the green-grade Great Emperor realm. Now that their souls had entered, they could only reach the so-called yellow-grade Great Emperor realm. Would it be useful in such a situation? Not to mention a great emperor martial artist, even a supreme Dao martial artist would be exhausted to death if they were to come here personally. Stop! What are you trying to do? Longao was not a fool. Of course, he knew what the two little guys were trying to do. Longao became frightened because he had already sensed that the two little guys were burning their life essence. Once it was done, even if he could eliminate the surrounding snakes, what about the two little guys? Life essence. Whether it was a martial artist or a spiritual beast, the life essence and soul in the body were equally important. Once it was burned, it would almost certainly lead to death. This was without a doubt. Even a Supreme Tao expert or a Nirvana Realm expert could not burn their life essence and not die. This was the rule of heaven and earth. This was the rule of all living creatures. No matter what, no one could change this rule. At this moment, Longao finally knew what Long Ming and Long Chang, the two little fellows, wanted to do. He would rather not have such help. Longao desperately wanted to stop it, but could he? The two little guys were able to sense Longao's danger. Otherwise, the two little guys wouldn't have chosen to appear at this time. However, the two little fellows knew very well that with their strength, even if they joined forces, they would not be able to destroy the endless number of small snakes around them. Helpless, the two little fellows chose to burn their life essence blood. In this way, the explosive power of the two little fellows was quite terrifying, not to mention that they were working together. Longao kept shouting in fear, because the two little fellows had already started. He had to stop them as soon as possible, otherwise the consequences would be unimaginable. Both of you stop! Neither Long Chang nor Long Ming had any intention of stopping. Stop right now! Longao was terrified to the extreme when he found that the two little fellows didn't listen to him at all. He would rather have an accident than let the two little fellows burn their own life essence blood. What should he do? At this moment, Longao was helpless. He didn't know what to do at all because even he couldn't forcefully stop the two little fellows burning life essence blood. Long Ming and Long Chang's bodies erupted with powerful auras, setting up a powerful aura shield around Longao. The surrounding small snakes seemed to be very afraid of the aura shield and didn't dare to take a step closer. In this way, Longao was temporarily out of danger. Until now, Longao still didn't know what the two little fellows were going to do next. He only knew one thing, and that was that the two little fellows were burning their life essence blood. Once it was completed, the two little fellows would definitely die. In just a few minutes, Long Chang and Long Ming had already burned their life essence blood. Then, the roars of dragons and tigers began to sound, and the two figures had already rushed out. The two little fellows' current strength was many times stronger than before they entered. The two little fellows each used their trump cards, constantly killing the surrounding small snakes. They seemed to know that the blood-red snakes were the key. Precisely because of this, the two little fellows shot toward the blood-red snakes and arrived in the blink of an eye. He Shu disappeared automatically. The blood-red snakes fought against Long Ming and Long Chang alone. Under normal circumstances, what He Shu couldn't do, the two little fellows might not be able to do. But at this moment, the situation was completely different. Long Ming and Long Chang burned their life essence blood, and their strength soared countless times. Under the joint forces, they directly killed the blood-red snakes. As expected. Just as Longao guessed, the blood-red snakes were the key. Once the blood-red snakes died, the surrounding small snakes would also disappear. That was the truth. As soon as the blood-red snakes were killed, all the surrounding small snakes disappeared. Longao wasn't surprised at all. With the help of spatial teleportation, he directly came to the two little fellows and couldn't wait to say angrily, "Who told you to do this?" "You too." Longao didn't know what to say because the two little fellows burned their life essence blood all for him. He really couldn't bear such a friendship. Again, he would rather fight the snakes himself, or even be devoured by them, than to see the two little fellows burn their life essence blood and put their lives in danger. "Big brother, if we didn't do this, you definitely wouldn't be able to destroy these damn things. Big brother, don't worry, although we burned our life essence blood, we won't die." Hearing Long Chang's words, Longao let out a long sigh of relief, but he was still very nervous. After all, the two little fellows burned their life essence blood, not ordinary blood. Even if they didn't die, he believed that it wouldn't be that simple. Otherwise, if they burned their life essence blood when in danger, wouldn't they be invincible? Without waiting for Longao to ask, Long Chang continued, "Big brother, the two of us burned our life essence blood and will sleep for a period of time. If Big brother has a way to wake us up earlier, that would be the best. Big brother, you must think of us." Without giving Longao any chance to speak, Long Chang and Long Ming had already disappeared. Longao was a little sad, but he wasn't pessimistic. No matter what, the two little fellows didn't die and were only sleeping. There would always be a chance. It seemed that he had to think of a way to wake the two little fellows up as soon as possible. Looking at the restored space, Longao's face became colder and colder. In the seven-colored space, other than the air currents that were everywhere, the entire space was mysterious, strange, and eerie. What the hell was this place? Until now, Longao still didn't know where he was. Was he in the wilderness divine throne? Other than this possibility, Longao really couldn't think of any other. Chapter 975. How to Leave. Longao didn't sit still and continued to walk forward. Longao was very clear that if he himself was unable to leave, how could he save Long Chang and Long Ming, these two little fellows? Step by step, step by step. Longao didn't speed up because he didn't know if more terrifying creatures would appear in the rainbow's space. Just like that, Longao kept walking forward. Step by step, he didn't stop at all. He didn't know how long he had walked or how far he had walked. Longao was a little curious because there was a huge black vortex in midair not far from him. A black vortex. Looking at the black vortex that kept spinning in front of him, Longao immediately thought of the firmament devouring art. Because once he used the firmament devouring art, a black vortex would appear behind him, almost identical to the black vortex in front of him. Longao stopped and didn't continue to move forward. Longao didn't know the origin of the black vortex in front of him, so he didn't act rashly. He released his aura and tried to sense the black vortex to see what secrets it had. It was fine if he didn't sense it, but as soon as he sensed it, Longao's expression changed instantly. "Not good!" Longao exclaimed because he found that he was being swallowed by the black vortex. Who knew what would happen if he was swallowed? Not daring to be careless, Longao used all his strength to resist the black vortex's swallowing. But in the end, no matter how hard Longao tried, he found that he was slowly moving forward. If this continued, he would definitely be swallowed by the huge black vortex in front of him. Until now, Longao didn't know what the black vortex was. If he was swallowed, who knew what would happen? Black vortex. In the end, Longao had no choice but to use the firmament devouring art. Similarly, a small black vortex appeared behind Longao, almost identical to the huge black vortex in front of him. Longao's intention was very simple. Black vortex against black vortex, swallowing against swallowing. Since the black vortex wanted to devour him, why couldn't he devour the black vortex? If it was an ordinary person, they would not dare to have such thoughts. However, Longao was different. One had to admit that sometimes, Longao was really bold and arrogant. The two black vortexes began to devour each other. The horrifying auras clashed back and forth. Longao did not dare to be careless. He used all his strength to drive the firmament devouring art, and the black whirlpool spun wildly. No matter what. The black vortex formed by the celestial devouring skill was not on the same level as the huge black vortex in front of him. Just like that, Longao's body began to move slowly again, little by little towards the black vortex. If he didn't think of a solution in time, there would only be one final outcome. He would be directly swallowed by the black vortex without the slightest chance. A black vortex. What should he do? Longao was depressed. First, it was the endless number of mysterious little snakes. Now, it was the mysterious huge black vortex. What kind of place was this? How was he going to leave this rainbow space? Since the celestial devouring art was out of options, Longao could only try using the power of the Chaos Stone tablets. The two Chaos Stone tablets were the Devouring Chaos Stone tablet and the Five Elements Chaos Stone tablet. Ever since he had obtained the two Chaos Stone tablets, Longao had only tried to fuse them with the Five Elements Chaos Stone tablet. He could only use the power of the Five Elements Chaos Stone tablet. As for the power of the Devouring Chaos Stone tablet, he was still unable to use it. The power of the Chaos Stone tablet extended out and blocked Longao's path, forming a gigantic stone wall. The power of the Five Elements, especially the Five Elements Chaos Stone tablet, was able to defend against the devouring power of the black vortex. Longao heaved a sigh of relief. But in the next second, Longao was shocked to find out that the black vortex that he had just defended against was trying to devour him once more. Even the power of the Five Elements Chaos Stone tablet could not stop it. Longao could not imagine what he could do to defend against the devouring power of the black vortex. Boom, 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 boom. Boom. Boom! Within the gigantic black vortex, the sounds of thunder boomed out continuously. Purplish-black lightning bolts shuttled back and forth within the black vortex. Looking at the horrifying power of thunder within the black vortex, Longao was taken aback. Things were getting more and more complicated. The entire black vortex was just like hell. In the short span of a few seconds, Longao had already been forcefully sucked right before the black vortex. He was less than a meter away from the black vortex. In other words, Longao could be devoured by the black vortex at any moment. As for what the outcome would be, no one knew. A meter away, the black vortex had finally stopped devouring. But Longao did not let down his guard. Because at this moment, he realized that he could not move at all. It was as though he was locked in by the black vortex. Locked in. Longao tried all sorts of methods to see if he could break out of the lock. After all, if he were to be locked in for such a long time, even if he was not devoured, the consequences would be dire. But no matter what he tried, Longao could not break out of the lock. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Longao heard an obedient sound. Before he could react to what had happened, the black vortex that had just stopped devouring suddenly increased its devouring power by more than 10 times. What kind of concept was that? Without giving Longao any chance, the terrifying power released by the black vortex directly devoured Longao. In the next second, Longao had already disappeared without a trace. The black vortex was still flashing with countless thunder and lightning. It looked extremely terrifying, not to mention being devoured. No one knew whether Longao was dead or alive. In front of the wilderness divine throne, time passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. In these 3 days, the 10 of them, including Linger, did not dare to move. Because everyone knew clearly that once they moved, they would be killed by the giant dragon shadow. 3 days ago, the scene of the giant dragon shadow crushing many great emperors was still vivid in their minds. The giant dragon shadow was too powerful. Not to mention them, even if there was a supreme Dao warrior here, he would not be able to resist the giant dragon shadow's aura suppression. Everyone knew that the giant dragon shadow did not come from Black Wolf, but from the wilderness divine throne. Because of this, everyone was even more shocked. Because for so many years, no one had entered the wilderness divine throne and such a situation had happened except for Black Wolf. It would be a lie to say that they weren't envious and jealous of him. What do you think we should do now? Everyone looked at each other, not knowing what to do. Chapter 976. Why don't we join forces and see if we can leave this place? Everyone shook their heads in opposition to Baihe's idea. It was still the same. The lesson from 3 days ago had completely frightened everyone. Unless it was a last resort, the 10 of them would not act rashly. Everyone looked at Linger, who was not far away. Their intentions were clear. Junior sister Linger, what's going on? Linger shrugged helplessly. She also wanted to know what had happened. Why did a wilderness divine throne appear out of nowhere? Don't be impatient. I believe Black Wolf will finish comprehending in a month's time. At that time, we will be able to leave smoothly. It was pointless to ask. How could the 10 of them not know this? After Black Wolf finished comprehending in a month's time, everything would be over. Even at this time, the 10 of them were still somewhat unwilling. They had found 6 wilderness divine thrones with great difficulty, and even a 7th one had appeared. However, everything had been taken away by Black Wolf. In fact, Linger was also very worried about Longao's safety. This was because countless people had obtained 6 wilderness divine thrones over the years, but such a situation had never happened before. Not to mention other things, just the appearance of the 7th wilderness divine throne was a little too inconceivable. For countless years, no one had known that there was a 7th wilderness divine throne in the Burning Sky divine region. Although she was worried, Linger was powerless. Linger knew very well that with her current strength, it was impossible for her to help Longao. Ling could even be sure that if she moved in the slightest, she would be directly obliterated by the giant dragon's shadow. In the 7-colored space, Longao was swallowed by the black vortex and entered a pitch-black world. Even with Longao's strength, he could not see anything more than 3 meters away. What kind of concept was this? Under normal circumstances, with Longao's cultivation, even if it was night, it would be as if it was day. But now, Longao could only see things within 3 meters. There were only rocks and weeds around him. It was like a barren forest. What kind of place was this? Longao didn't dare to act rashly because he didn't know where he was. Just like before, he had been besieged by countless small snakes, and then he had encountered the black vortex. It was fortunate that he hadn't died yet. However, Longao was even more aware that if this continued, it wouldn't be a good thing. In other words, he had to leave this damned place as soon as possible. He released his aura and spread it out, slowly sensing his surroundings. Eh? In less than a few minutes, Longao exclaimed in surprise. In the southeast. Despite knowing that there were tigers in the mountains, Longao did not stop at all and headed towards the southeast. Not long after, Longao came to the place where he sensed something was wrong. It turned out to be a huge stone platform. On the stone platform, there was a 7-colored pearl that flashed with red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and purple colors. It was very beautiful. The 7-colored pearl. Longao didn't act rashly, nor did he dare to touch it. He just looked at it quietly. Could it be that the 7-colored space was related to the pearl in front of him? He tried to release a trace of power and slowly approached the pearl. Longao found that there was no resistance, so he continued to enter. Gradually, a large amount of power entered the pearl. The next scene gave Longao a fright. As soon as the power entered the 7-colored pearl, the pearl immediately shone brightly. The 7 colors of red, orange, yellow, green, indigo, and purple lit up the entire space. At this time, Longao had a chance to look at the whole space. It was obviously different from the space just now. The whole space was a huge forest. There were dark towering trees everywhere. The boulder he was on was empty. Master, you're so lucky. At this time, suddenly hearing Long Fu's words, Longao was suddenly happy. Ever since he entered this mysterious space, Longao couldn't sense Long Fu. No matter what happened, there was no one to discuss it with. Long Fu, why can't I sense your existence? Master, this space is very powerful. Even I can't sense it. If you didn't find the 7-star pearl, I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to sense you. The 7-star pearl? The pearl in front of him was the legendary 7-star pearl? In fact, Longao didn't know what the 7-star pearl was. Long Fu, what is this 7-star pearl in front of me? In a flash, Long Fu appeared beside Longao. His eyes were greedy as he stared at the 7-star pearl in front of him. Master, you don't know. The 7-star pearl is a rare treasure of heaven and earth. It was condensed by heaven and earth. No one knows the origin of the 7-star pearl, but it is said that anyone who can get the 7-star pearl can open the 7 mysterious spaces. At this point, Long Fu paused for a moment. Once the 7 mysterious spaces are opened, Master will be the supreme expert of heaven and earth. Not to mention the heavens, even the clairvoyant Master will be trash in front of Master. Hearing Long Fu's words, Longao was also extremely shocked in his heart. That was because he never would have thought that the 7-star bead in front of him had such a powerful origin. If he said that he wasn't greedy, he would definitely be lying. Even Longao was no exception. Supreme experts were the strongest existences in heaven and earth. Even the heavens and the clairvoyant Master wouldn't be in their eyes. If he could become the strongest martial artist in heaven and earth, wouldn't he be able to look down on heaven and earth? Long Fu, I'd like to ask, what's with the 6 Desolation God thrones outside? Master, it's not 6 Desolation God thrones, it's 7. 7 Desolation God thrones? Longao instantly understood what was going on. The 7-star pearl flickered with the 7 colors of red, orange, yellow, green, indigo, violet. But outside, there were 7 Desolation God thrones. In other words, there was a connection between the 7-star pearl and the 7 Desolation God thrones. Long Fu, tell me, what is the connection between the 7-star pearl and the 7 Desolation God thrones? This kind of temptation was something Longao couldn't resist. It was because of this that he naturally wanted to obtain the 7-star pearl to open the 7 mysterious spaces and become the strongest martial artist in heaven and earth. Long Fu naturally knew what his master was thinking. Let alone his master, no one on the martial heaven continent could resist such a temptation. Even the clairvoyant Master and the heavenly Taoists were no exception. Master, the 7 Desolation God thrones are practically useless. The martial skills they comprehend from the Desolation God thrones are only martial skills from the 7 mysterious spaces. If I'm not mistaken, those martial skills can only be considered low level because powerful martial skills won't come out. P.S. Don't worry, little 9 will definitely explode today. This is the 3rd chapter. Chapter 977. So that was the case. If that was the case, wouldn't it mean that the martial skills in the 7 mysterious spaces were even more powerful? Long Fu, what should I do now? Longao didn't act rashly because he knew that even if the bead in front of him was the so-called 7-star bead, he couldn't touch it recklessly. Master, you just released your power into the 7-star bead. Since the 7-star bead didn't reject you, it means that you can take it away. Before Longao could speak, Long Fu continued. However, once the 7-star bead leaves this space, even the entire Burning God domain will face endless disasters. Master, you must leave this place as soon as possible. He nodded. Long Fu, where are the 7 desolation divine thrones? For decoration. Longao didn't continue asking because he already knew what Long Fu meant. Longao slowly stretched out his hands and directly grabbed the 7-star bead. As expected. Just now, the 7-star bead didn't reject his power. Now that he was holding the 7-star bead, the 7-star bead didn't resist at all. When he got it, Longao finally let out a sigh of relief. At the same time, Longao also felt that the entire space began to shake violently, as if it would collapse at any time. Not daring to stay any longer, Longao immediately used Long Fu's method to find the exit and leave this place as soon as possible. In front of the desolation divine thrones, the 10 of them were discussing how to escape the lock of the giant dragon's shadow and leave this place. As for the Black Wolf, they could only leave first and think about it later. But at this moment, everyone was shocked to find that the entire space began to shake violently. The space in front of them even had traces of black cracks, which were the so-called space cracks. Seeing this situation, everyone was shocked. The giant dragon's shadow behind Longao had already disappeared. The 10 of them looked at each other and immediately turned to leave. In the blink of an eye, the 10 of them had disappeared without a trace. Linger did not leave. She stared at Longao, who was still sitting on the throne. Linger clearly had true feelings for Longao. Even in the face of danger, she still chose to stay by his side. If you don't leave or abandon me, I will stay by your side in life and death. Linger had always been envious of her senior sister's relationship with Longao, especially when she said that if he didn't abandon her, she would stay by his side in life and death. In Linger's opinion, if her senior sister could do it, then she could do it as well. That was it. Linger did not leave. She completely ignored the situation around her. Even if countless cracks appeared around her, she did not leave. Linger's feelings were worth respecting. In the next second, Longao's figure suddenly disappeared from the wilderness divine throne and appeared in front of Linger. Linger, why are you doing this? Looking at Linger, who was so close to him, Longao was no fool. Of course, he knew why Linger didn't leave. The more Linger acted like this, the more he didn't know what to do. He really couldn't bear Linger's feelings. Longao, I want you to know that if senior sister can do it, I can do it too. Whether you like me or not, I want to tell you that I like you. If you don't leave or abandon me, I will stay by your side in life and death. In my opinion, even if you leave me, I will stay by your side in life and death. Hearing Linger's words, Longao sighed deeply in his heart. What should he do? Longao really couldn't bear to hurt Ling, when she was so devoted to him. However, he knew that since his heart couldn't hold anyone else other than Aoshue and Yuin, it was better to make it clear early so that he wouldn't hurt her even more. However, under such circumstances, Longao didn't continue to dwell on this problem. Long Fu had just said that once he obtained the 7-star bead, the entire Burning Heaven Divine Realm would collapse. If he couldn't leave the Burning Heaven Divine Realm, then he would be buried with space. Holding Linger's hand, Longao forcefully used spatial teleportation, but it didn't work. Helpless, Longao could only take Linger on foot. Linger's strength was far above Longao's, and her speed was even faster. The two also disappeared. The 7-star bead was forcefully taken away, and the 7 ancient desolation divine thrones were all shattered. If the 10 were still here, they would be shocked speechless because the ancient desolation divine thrones, the most precious treasure of the burning heaven divine realm, were actually shattered. From beginning to end, the 10 of them didn't know what had happened. Whether it was the 10 of them, Longao, or Linger, they all shot toward the entrance as fast as they could. Under normal circumstances, the entrance would only reopen after a month, but the current situation was obviously different. The 7-star bead had disappeared, and the spatial door had opened in advance. The 12 of them also left smoothly. 2 hours later, the entrance closed again, and the entire burning heaven divine realm began to tremble. Even outside, everyone in the Martial Artists Alliance could feel the powerful fluctuations in the burning heaven divine realm. At this moment, Tong Tiandi and the 8 Vice Alliance Masters appeared outside the burning heaven divine realm at the same time. Feeling the powerful fluctuations, the 9 of them were extremely shocked, but their expressions were definitely not good. Because the 9 of them clearly knew what the destruction of the burning heaven divine realm meant. Alliance Master, what's going on? Waving his hand, Tong Tiandi's expression was extremely gloomy. He said in a deep voice, "The burning heaven divine realm has been destroyed. From today onwards, no one can enter the burning heaven divine realm." Hearing this, the 8 Vice Alliance Masters sighed deeply. Until now, they still didn't know what had happened in the burning heaven divine realm. Why would such a situation occur in the burning heaven divine realm? But it should be known that for so many years, countless people from the Martial Artists Alliance had entered the burning heaven divine realm, and no matter which time, such a situation had never occurred. Only this time, could it be that there was something fishy about it? Alliance Master, out of the 100 people who entered the burning heaven divine realm, 12 of them are here. The 8 Vice Alliance Masters were very clear that the 12 of them, Black Wolf, Linger, and the others, were able to smoothly appear. Most likely, only 12 people knew about the situation in the burning heaven divine realm. As for the fates of the others, they were most likely doomed. 12 people? Hearing that nothing had happened to Black Wolf and Linger, Tong Tiandi heaved a sigh of relief. To be honest, out of the 100 or so people who entered the burning heaven divine realm, he only cared about 2 people the most. One was his daughter, Linger, and the other was Longao. As for the others, even if something had happened to them, they could only blame their luck. The 12 of you follow me? Tong Tiandi didn't care about the matters in the burning heaven divine realm. Because the situation had already developed to this point, he could only figure out what had happened in the burning heaven divine realm. As for why they couldn't enter it, you should ask the godly seat of desolation, not me. Shameless. Longao was really shameless. How could they ask the godly seat of desolation? However, Longao naturally wouldn't tell them the truth. What a joke. If these people knew that he was in the space, it would be strange if they didn't envy and hate him. They might even try to snatch it. Black Wolf, you're really twisting words. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have been able to enter the godly seat of desolation. Pfft. Hearing the White Crane's question, Linger suddenly laughed. In such a serious situation, Linger's laughter was especially ear-piercing. However, with her status, not to mention ordinary people, even the 8 vice leaders didn't dare to fart casually. Linger, don't be presumptuous. Father, I really find it funny. If the Black Wolf could control the godly seat of desolation, what could the others do? You don't have the ability, yet you blame others. How laughable. Hearing Linger's unbridled ridicule, the 10 people's expressions became even uglier. However, due to the other party's strength and status, they could only be angry but didn't dare to say anything. I believe the Black Wolf. It seems that you guys couldn't enter the godly seat of desolation because of other reasons. Tong Tiandi also didn't believe that the Black Wolf could control 6 godly seats of desolation. It was a bit too exaggerated. No matter what, it was the first time the Black Wolf had entered the Burning Sky Divine Domain. Since the Alliance Master had spoken, the 10 people couldn't say anything. At this moment, Xian Mu stood up. Seeing Xian Mu, Shanghai Ye glared at him fiercely. Even a fool could see the anger on her face. However, the others turned a blind eye to it. Alliance Master, I have something to report. Speak. Xian Mu looked at Longao and said, when the Black Wolf was fighting for the godly seat of desolation, he suddenly used some kind of martial skill. When the dragon roar sounded, our bodies were locked. That was how the Black Wolf obtained the godly seat of desolation. Dragon roar? Everyone knew very well what the dragon's roar represented. Alliance Master, how could the disciples of the Martial Artists Alliance have such a martial skill? According to what I said, those who have such martial skills are all disciples of Long family. I would like to ask the Black Wolf. Waving his hand. Before Xian Mu could ask, Longao had already interrupted him. He didn't give Xian Mu any face. The winner is the king and the loser is the bandit. I don't deny that I got a powerful martial skill that also has the dragon roar. I would like to ask you, who said that those who have the dragon roar must be disciples of Long family? Xian Mu was speechless. After all, it was a bit forced. Because other than disciples of Long family, there were some martial skills that could produce the dragon roar. Moreover, even if they weren't disciples of Long family, many people had giant dragons as their partners. Could it be that they were disciples of Long family? It was a bit ridiculous. Humph, Black Wolf, you sat on the Desolation Divine Throne, and a giant dragon shadow appeared behind you and locked on to our bodies. The reason why the others didn't come out was because they were killed by the giant dragon shadow. I would like to ask, what is going on? Giant dragon shadow? Longao had an innocent face, as if it had nothing to do with him. However, since the White Crane said so, then it must be true. He knew very well that the White Crane wouldn't say such things when Linga was still here. Could it be that there was really a giant dragon shadow behind him? Innate ability Dragon Roar? Besides this, Longao couldn't figure out why there was a giant dragon shadow behind him. I don't know what happened. It was still the same words, he wouldn't admit it even if he was beaten to death. In fact, Tong Tiandi already knew what was going on, because he already knew Longao's true identity. It was normal for him to have an innate ability and dragon roar. Tong Tiandi obviously didn't want to talk about this. He said, let's talk about this later. I just want to know why the Burning Sky Divine region was destroyed for no reason. The Alliance Master was obviously biased towards Black Wolf. Even a fool could see that. Because of this, the 10 people were completely depressed. They didn't know where Black Wolf came from, and why would the Alliance Master be biased towards Black Wolf? Just as Xian Mu was about to retreat, he saw Sheng Guanyi giving him a look. Helpless, he could only continue to resist. Chapter 979. Longao was not a fool. Dazzling Mu was obviously a member of Sheng Guanyi. Previously, he had almost been killed by this person in the Burning God realm. Now, he was here again. Strike first. Longao did not continue to wait for death. He did not give Dazzling Mu a chance to speak and said directly, Dazzling Mu, I also want to ask you. Previously, in the Burning God realm, you joined forces with others to betray me. Do you deserve an explanation? Black Wolf, what happened? This time, it was Tang Hao who spoke. From beginning to end, Tang Hao did not find a chance to speak. Vice Leader Tang, there is something you do not know. Then, Longao roughly explained what had happened between him and Dazzling Mu. After hearing this, everyone's face turned ugly. The Martial Artists Alliance had never stopped the disciples from fighting. In the eyes of the higher-ups, without fighting, there would be no progress. However, there was a rule that no deaths could occur, unless it was a battle in the life and death valley. However, when the disciples of the Martial Artists Alliance, and even all the sects were in danger, they would unite against a common enemy. Those who betrayed their own people were traitors. Everyone had the right to kill traitors. Black Wolf, don't slander me. When did I do such a thing? Dazzling Moo was shocked when he heard Black Wolf's words. Of course, he knew what the consequences would be if this matter was confirmed. Dazzling Moo, is what Black Wolf said true? Under the powerful interrogation of the Alliance leader, Dazzling Moo could only nod obediently. However, he found a lot of excuses. Take him away. Tong Tiandi did not immediately execute Dazzling Moo. After all, Dazzling Moo was a member of Shangguaniye. As the saying goes, before you beat a dog, you have to look at its master. Shangguaniye was still the vice leader of the Martial Artists Alliance. Alliance leader, I am innocent. I am innocent. Gradually, Dazzling Moo's voice disappeared without a trace. Tong Tiandi and the 8 vice leaders knew that the 12 people could not give a reason. In that case, it was useless to ask. Tong Tiandi waved his hand. His meaning was clear. Longao and the others bowed respectfully, and then slowly retreated. What do you think? Alliance Master, the Burning Heaven Divine Region was discovered by the old ancestor. Now that it has been destroyed in our hands, how are we supposed to face the old ancestor? I'll think about it. Longao and the others, who had just left, had just stepped out of the main hall when Bai He and the others blocked Longao's path. All of them were incomparably furious and murderous. Black Wolf, you nearly killed us in the Burning Heaven Divine Region. How should we settle this debt? You can't blame Black Wolf just because you don't have the ability. Ling snorted coldly and looked coldly at the 9 people in front of her. With Linger's status, even if the 9 of them were given 10,000 guts, they would absolutely not dare to attack her. However, the 9 of them were unable to swallow their anger. You only know how to hide behind women. Black Wolf, if you're still a man, come out and have a fair fight with me. Do you dare? Provocation. Bai He and the other 8 knew that if Linger continued to protect Black Wolf, it would be difficult for them to attack. The only way was for Black Wolf to come out and accept the challenge. At that time, even if they killed Black Wolf in the life and death arena, no one would say anything. However, Longao was not going to fall for it. At this time, he had no interest in playing with these people. The Burning Heaven Divine Region was already over. There was only one thing he needed to do now, and that was to see Yuin as soon as possible, and see what he should do. A fair fight? Linger's face was filled with disdain as she said mockingly. You challenged Black Wolf like this. Is this a fair fight? Waving her hand, Linger seemed to become impatient and said coldly. If you want to find trouble, I'll accompany you at any time. But let me tell you, if you dare to attack Black Wolf, I won't let you off. Linger did not care whether the 9 people's expressions were good or not. She pulled Longao away and the 2 disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. Looking at the gradually disappearing figures, the 9 people's expressions became more and more unsightly. At this time, we have a common enemy and will deal with Black Wolf together. The 9 people expressed their agreement. The corners of the 9 people's mouths curled into a cold smile at the same time. Their intentions were very clear. Longao, you must be more careful in the coming days. Whether it's the 9 of them or Shangguaniye, they won't let this matter rest. How could Longao not know about this? Linger, I'm a little tired. I'll take my leave first. Seeing Linger nod, Longao did not know whether he was afraid or unwilling to face it, but he turned and quickly left. Fiercely stomping her foot, Linger scolded in a low voice. What a stupid pig! I don't believe that I can't deal with you. Returning to his residence, Longao immediately communicated with Long Fu and his entire body entered the Dragon Seal space. Ever since his body could enter the Dragon Seal space, Longao's soul did not enter. The reason was very simple. Leaving the body outside while the soul entered was always a danger. inside the dragon seal space. Longao was a little impatient as he asked. Long Fu, I've already successfully obtained the 7-star pearl. Next, can I go and find the 7 mysterious spaces? Regarding the 7 mysterious spaces that Long Fu had mentioned before, Longao yearned and looked forward to it. If he could really obtain the 7 mysterious spaces, wouldn't he become the strongest martial artist in the world? Master, I'll be honest. With your current strength, even if you find the 7 mysterious spaces and have the help of the 7-star pearl, you won't be able to enter them. Therefore, Master, your current priority is to continue cultivating and strive to increase your strength. The higher your strength, the higher your chances of entering the 7 mysterious spaces. So that's how it is. Master, the 7 mysterious spaces are still legends. No one has seen them before. Therefore, even if we want to find the 7 mysterious spaces, we have to plan for the long term. Since that's the case, let's put this matter aside for now. Longao was a little depressed. However, it was fortunate that he had obtained the 7-star pearl. As long as his strength continued to increase, he believed that one day, he would be qualified to find the 7 mysterious spaces and be able to open them. Long Fu, I believe you should understand the situation of the 2 little fellows. No matter what happens, I have to find a way to wake them up. Do you have any ideas? Longao was very nervous about the situation of the 2 little fellows. If it weren't for the 2 little fellows burning their blood essence, he believed that he would have died in the rainbow space by now. Long Fu lowered his head and pondered for a moment. His expression didn't look too good. Master, the 2 little fellows burned their blood essence. Although it's only 1/3, the loss is too great. If you want the 2 little fellows to wake up and completely recover, Master, this seems to be a little difficult. Of course, it was difficult. Longao was very clear about what burning one's blood essence meant. If it was an ordinary martial artist or spiritual beast, they would have died long ago. Chapter 980. Long Fu, do you have a way? After thinking for a while, Long Fu nodded in the end. Seeing Long Fu nod, Longao felt joy in his heart. Longao understood Long Fu very well. As long as Long Fu said he had a way, then there would definitely be a way. Master, if you want to awaken the 2 little fellows and restore them to their peak state, as long as you can find a huge amount of energy to support it, I believe it's completely possible. So that's how it was. Longao already understood Long Fu's meaning and did not continue to dwell on this problem. What he needed to do now was to find a huge amount of energy to awaken the 2 little fellows as quickly as possible. Longao had just left the dragon seal space. The door had already been pushed open and Tong Tiandi slowly walked in from outside. Uncle Tong. In front of outsiders, Longao would call him Alliance Master. However, when there was no one around, he would directly call him Uncle. This could be considered a secret between the two. Longao, did you gain anything from entering the Burning Heaven Divine Domain this time? So it was because of the Burning Heaven Divine Domain. Longao was very clear in his heart that countless people from the Martial Artists Alliance had entered the Burning Heaven Divine Domain, and nothing had ever happened. Only this time, when he entered the Burning Heaven Divine Domain, such a huge thing happened. Not to mention Tong Tiandi, even he himself would be suspicious of this matter. Uncle Tong, to tell you the truth, when I entered the Wilderness Divine Throne this time, I sensed a kind of martial skill. Its power is not bad. Sensed a martial skill. Tong Tiandi deeply sighed because almost every disciple who entered the Wilderness Divine Throne would be able to comprehend a martial skill. As for the strength of the martial skill, it would depend on one's fortune and luck. Longao, could it be that you didn't discover anything wrong in the Burning Heaven Divine region? Alliance Master, I know what you want to ask, but I also do not know why the Burning Heaven Divine Domain was suddenly destroyed. Although Tong Tiandi already knew that Longao would give such an answer, he was still a little unwilling. Longao, I know you really want to see Yuin, but now is not the time. Why is that? Longao wasn't surprised that Tong Tiandi had already guessed his intentions. After all, if Tong Tiandi knew his identity, he must know about the matter between him and Yuyin. This time, he came to the Martial Artists Alliance mainly to see Yuyin. How could Longao let the matter rest when he was told that it was impossible when he was so close to meeting her? Longao, I already know about the matter between you and Yuyin. But let me tell you, even if you see Yuyin, what can you do? Longao didn't say anything, because he didn't know what Tong Tiandi meant. Longao, have you ever thought that Yuyin staying in the Martial Artists Alliance is the best choice? Because here, with the support of the Hades and the Martial Artists Alliance, Yuyin will be able to develop greatly. If she leaves with you, not to mention whether Yuyin will be able to obtain better resources, she will also become your enemy. At this point, Tong Tiandi suddenly stopped. The meaning of Tong Tiandi's words was very clear. Longao lowered his head and pondered. At this moment, Tong Tiandi also turned around and left, disappearing in an instant as if he had teleported. In fact, Tong Tiandi was able to leave in an instant, not because Tong Tiandi could teleport, but because Tong Tiandi's strength was too strong and his speed was too fast. Even with the naked eye, it was impossible to see how Tong Tiandi left. Longao didn't care about Tong Tiandi, sitting quietly in the courtyard alone. What Tong Tiandi said just now was too much for Longao. All this time, Longao had always wanted to see Yuyin and take Yuyin away. He had never thought about anything else, especially what would happen after taking Yuyin away. Just like what Tong Tiandi said, even if he could take Yuyin away, he had so many enemies. Even if he wasn't afraid, what about Yuyin? It was better to be safe than sorry. What if something happened to Yuyin? What should he do then? Taking a step back. Even if he took Yuyin back to his family in the Jiuzhou continent, what could he do? Longao was almost certain that once Hades found out, Hades would definitely bring a large group of people to the Jiuzhou continent. If that was the case, things would be really troublesome. Longao knew that with Hades' strength and identity, it would be easy for him to mobilize a large group of people. If Yuyin continued to stay in the Martial Artists Alliance, not only would her safety be guaranteed, but she would also receive the support of the Martial Artists Alliance. It was killing two birds with one stone. In the end, Longao decided not to take Yuyin away for now. However, since he had already come to the Martial Artists Alliance, it was still necessary to see Yuyin. He didn't continue to dwell on this problem. His cultivation had successfully broken through to the Green Grade Great Emperor realm. The next task was to think of all kinds of ways to break through from the Green Grade Great Emperor realm to the Cyan Grade Great Emperor realm in the shortest time possible. 10 Great Emperor realms. From lowest to highest, they were Red Grade Great Emperor realm, Orange Grade Great Emperor realm, Yellow Grade Great Emperor realm, Green Grade Great Emperor realm, Cyan Grade Great Emperor realm, Blue Grade Great Emperor realm, Purple Grade Great Emperor realm, Black Grade Great Emperor realm, White Grade Great Emperor realm, and Gold Grade Great Emperor realm. Above the Gold Grade Great Emperor realm was the so-called titled Great Emperor realm. Longao was already very satisfied with his cultivation speed. In just a few months, he had broken through from the Holy Emperor realm to the Green Grade Great Emperor realm. If this news were to spread, no one would believe it. Actually, Longao was even clearer that his cultivation speed was so fast. Luck accounted for a large part. After leaving the Burning Sky Divine region, Longao stayed in his residence to cultivate and stabilize his Green Grade Great Emperor realm. Pen. At dusk, Longao was still cultivating quietly. At this moment, the door was kicked open violently. Dazzling Mu walked in with a furious face, followed by many people. Dazzling Mu had the support of Shangguaniye, so he wasn't executed this time. However, he had suffered a lot and had just been released. How could Shangguaniye let go of this debt so easily? As for the people behind, they were just here to watch the show. Black Wolf, you made me suffer a lot. I would like to see what will happen if you don't kneel down and admit your mistake. Although Dazzling Moo didn't finish his sentence, the meaning of his words was very clear. Everyone outside the door clapped their hands. In everyone's opinion, with Dazzling Moo's strength and identity, it would be a piece of cake for him to kill Black Wolf. Kneel down? With just you? Longao didn't put Dazzling Moo in his eyes at all. He was also surprised that Dazzling Moo didn't die. However, he felt relieved after thinking about it. After all, Dazzling Moo had a Vice Alliance Lord behind him. Shanghuaniye wasn't just a figurehead. Black Wolf, aren't you a little too arrogant? I'm officially challenging you now. If you're a man, accept the challenge. Let me ask you now, do you dare to accept the challenge? Chapter 981. Does he dare? F***CK, Black Wolf isn't a man. Outside the door. Everyone was discussing because they all agreed that Black Wolf wouldn't dare to accept Dazzle's challenge. Dazzle was a gold-grade Great Sovereign while Black Wolf was just a yellow-grade Great Sovereign. After all, no one knew that Longao had broken through to the green-grade Great Sovereign realm. Why should I accept the challenge? Longao sneered. If it was before, he would have accepted the challenge even if he knew that he wasn't Dazzle's opponent. But now, Longao wasn't that reckless. Sure enough, I knew that you wouldn't dare to accept the challenge. Black Wolf, I'll give you a chance. Kneel down and admit your mistake, crawl under my crotch and I'll spare your life. Insult. It was a blatant insult. Dazzle, since you're so confident, why don't we make a bet? Bet? What kind of trick is he trying to play? The more the opponent acted like this, the less confident Dazzle was. Everyone outside the door was curious as to what Black Wolf wanted to bet. I thought you were full of confidence, but I didn't expect that you wouldn't dare. Since you don't dare, get out of here and stop embarrassing yourself. He was despised. It was Dazzle who came to find trouble, but now he was despised. Where was Dazzle's face? Although no one said anything, their gaze towards Dazzle was completely different. All right, I'll bet with you. His provocation was a success, and he made it so dazzling that he didn't even ask what the bet was. Dazzle, you and I will give each other a punch. Life or death, victory or defeat, how about it? So that's it. After hearing what Longao wanted to bet, not only Dazzle, but everyone else also laughed crazily. Their laughter was filled with contempt as if they had heard the funniest thing in the world. Black Wolf, since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Without giving Longao any chance to speak, Dazzle continued. Since you're a weakling, I'll let you go first. All right. Longao didn't hold back at all. Longao knew that with his strength, he was no match for Dazzle. Even if he had the Holy Desolation body, he believed that with Dazzle's strength, even if he did not die, he would be severely injured. Therefore, Longao had already decided that this punch had to hit the target. The two sides faced each other, waiting to see what would happen. Everyone was looking forward to it, but they had already guessed the result. Because of the difference in strength between the two, if Black Wolf punched Dazzle, Dazzle might be fine, but if Dazzle punched Black Wolf, would Black Wolf be able to withstand it? Dazzle stood in place, his face full of disdain. His opponent was only a yellow-grade Great Emperor. Even if he used all of his strength, it would be a fool's dream to seriously injure him. Dazzling, are you ready? Ha ha ha, are you kidding me? Do I need to prepare? Dazzle didn't put Black Wolf in his eyes, standing there lazily. Since that's the case, I'll begin. Nonsense, dilly-dallying. Longao sneered in his heart. Since you want to die, you can't blame me. Longao took 10 steps forward, arriving in front of Dazzle. The strength in his body had been pushed to the limit. Longao did not use the Divine Dragon Arm, because Long Chang had burned his life essence and blood and had fallen into a deep sleep. Even if he used the Divine Dragon Arm, it would be useless. It would be better to think of other methods to see if he could hit the target in one hit. Finally, Longao was ready to use the Emperor Dragon's 9 kills. He took a deep breath. Everyone thought that with Black Wolf's strength, even if he punched, it would only be soft and without the slightest attack power. But at this moment, Longao's right fist suddenly punched out. Even without seeing how he punched, his fist had already hit Dazzle's body. Emperor Dragon's 9 kills, Emperor Dragon's Raging Waves, Emperor Dragon's Heaven Burial, Emperor Dragon's Strangulation, Emperor Dragon's Domineering, Emperor Dragon's Collapse, Emperor Dragon's Falling Explosion, Emperor Dragon's Heart, Emperor Dragon's Devour, Emperor Dragon's Breaking the Heavens. Just now when it hit Dazzle's body, Dazzle didn't have the slightest feeling. The contempt on his face became more and more intense. He didn't put the other party in his eyes, but he never thought that the strength of the other party's punch would be so weak. Not to mention dealing with him, even if it was to deal with a small Hotian warrior, it would not be able to kill him. But in the next second, Dazzle's face suddenly changed. Although the Emperor Dragon's 9 fatal slashes looked like it was only one punch, the strength was stacked layer by layer. One punch contained 9 forces, and one force was stronger than the other. The strength after stacking was simply too terrifying. Longao's Emperor Dragon's 9 kills, even Dazzle couldn't resist it. His whole body flew out like a kite with a broken string, fiercely falling out. Seeing this situation, everyone was shocked. Each and every one of them stared blankly at the scene before them because no one had thought that with Hei Lang's strength, he could send Dazzling flying with a single punch. It was simply too unbelievable. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed it even if they were beaten to death. Dazzle was sent flying by a punch. He fell to the ground heavily and fainted directly. Longao came in front of Dazzle, sighed helplessly, shrugged and said, "Sorry you lost. You have fainted and don't have the ability to hit me." Looking at all the people outside the door, Longao said coldly, "Why don't you carry this waste out?" Hearing this, a few people came in from outside the door. They carried Dazzling eyes and quickly left. Soon, everyone disappeared without a trace. The news of Black Wolf knocking Dazzle out with one punch had spread throughout the Martial Artists Alliance in less than 10 minutes. Everyone who heard the news was shocked because no one chose to believe it. After all, the difference between Black Wolf and Dazzle was too big. One was a yellow-level Great Emperor Warrior, the other was a gold-level Great Emperor Warrior. The two were not at the same level. If Dazzle had knocked out Black Wolf with one punch, maybe some people would choose to believe it. But if it was the other way around, who would believe it? However, Dazzle was indeed carried out by people. Even if no one believed it, the truth was in front of them. They had to believe it. After being unconscious for 2 hours, Dazzle gradually woke up. Inside the secret room. "Humph, you really can't do anything right. This time, you went to find trouble with Black Wolf. Not only did you not deal with him, but you were knocked out by him. Are you out of your mind?" At this moment, Shangguaniye's face was gloomy to the extreme. He never thought that Black Wolf's strength would be so strong that he could knock out Dazzle with one punch. After all, the difference in strength between the two was too big. "Alliance Master Shangguan, this time I was knocked out by Black Wolf because I was careless. I also didn't expect that Black Wolf would play dirty tricks to set me up. If I had known, I would have fought him face to face. P.S. 8 chapters today, continue tomorrow. As for how many chapters, I'm not sure. I'm going to sleep first. I don't dare to stay up late. My body can't take it. Everyone, please forgive me." Chapter 982. He nodded. Shangguaniye already knew about the bet between the two. Under normal circumstances, not to mention one Black Wolf, even 10 Black Wolves would not be a match for Dazzle Mu. Because of this, Shangguaniye really wanted to beat up Dazzle Mu in front of him. Why did he have to make a bet? Dazzle Mu had already been knocked out before he could even land a punch. However, the matter had already passed. Shangguan Ye did not continue to pursue Dazzle Mu's responsibility. No matter what, Dazzle Mu was a gold-grade great sovereign. His talent and strength were obvious. Unless it was absolutely necessary, he really did not want to lose Dazzle Mu. Alliance leader Shangguan, what should we do now? He thought for a while. Shangguan Ye sneered and said, think of a way to lure Black Wolf out of the Martial Artists Alliance. Then I'll let my family deal with him. Shangguan family? Dazzle Mu certainly knew what the Deputy Alliance leader's family meant. As one of the 4 great families of the Imperial City, the Shangguan family had both strength and foundation. How could a small black wolf be a match for the entire Shangguan family? I know what to do. Dazzle Mu left the secret room and immediately went to make arrangements. Dazzle Mu was knocked out by a punch. Longao was not surprised at all. After all, he knew very well that Dazzle Mu would not let this matter rest. Longao had made up his mind. This time, he would not take Yuyin with him. However, he wanted to see Yuyin as soon as possible. When the time came, he would leave the Martial Artists Alliance. Because only through continuous experience, and even killing, could he continue to grow. The next day, Longao looked at the letter in his hand. His face was full of worry. It was a letter from Shangguan Fei. Longao had a good impression of this girl. Moreover, Shangguan Fei had helped him before. As a person, one should not repay evil with kindness. Longao immediately got up and left his residence. He left the Martial Artists Alliance and headed for the Imperial City. In the Royal City, there were 4 great clans. The 4 great clans were the Shangguan clan, the Ning clan, the Majia clan, and the Nangong clan. Among them, the Shangguan clan's strength and foundation were the most powerful. The reason was very simple. The Shangguan clan had a vice alliance leader holding down the fort. How could the other 3 great clans dare to go against the Shangguan clan? However, the Shangguan clan didn't dare to go too far. After all, the true overlord of the Imperial City was the Martial Artists Alliance, not the Shangguan clan. Even if there was a Deputy Alliance leader, the Deputy Alliance leader was not the most powerful person in the Martial Artists Alliance. Myriad Treasure Tower. Longao rushed over, ready to help Shangguan Fei solve the problem. But what awaited Longao was, looking at Shangguan Fei, Shangguan Mu, and Shangguan Tu in front of him, Longao instantly understood what had happened. Shangguan Fei, I just want to know why. Shangguan Fei had an apologetic look on her face as she said helplessly, I'm sorry. I've always been a member of the Shangguan clan. This sentence was enough, and this explanation was also enough. Longao knew very well that Shangguan Fei had no choice in front of the Shangguan clan. I've already returned the favor you've given me. From now on, our grudges are written off. Shangguan Fei didn't say much, because she didn't know what to say at this moment. She could only turn around and leave silently. She really didn't know how to choose in front of the Shangguan clan. Black Wolf, leave your life behind. Shangguan Mu didn't act rashly, because according to the news he received, the other party had successfully broken through to the Great Emperor realm, and was even a green-grade Great Emperor. One should know that before Black Wolf entered the Martial Artists Alliance, he hadn't even reached the Great Emperor realm. But what about now? Such a cultivation speed was simply unbelievable. Even if he didn't want to believe it, he had to try it out. Shangguan Mu was only a crimson-grade Great Emperor. The gap between him and Longao was too big. However, Shangguan Mu wasn't worried at all, because his uncle, Shangguan Tu, was present. As a purple-grade Great Emperor, Shangguan Tu could actually contend with a small black wolf. The Shangguan clan is really jackals of the same tribe. Black Wolf, provoking my Shangguan clan has already determined your life and death. Do you still want to leave the 1,000 Treasure Tower alive? Shangguan Tu, you're too arrogant to cause trouble in my 1,000 Treasure Tower. At this moment, the 1,000 Treasure Tower's Tower Master, Hong Lang, walked over, his body emitting an invisible killing intent. As a divine-grade martial artist, Hong Lang's strength was obvious. A small Shangguan Tu and Shangguan Mu didn't dare to be presumptuous. Senior Hong, this is the old ancestor's intention. Hong Lang wasn't a fool. Of course, he knew who the old ancestor was. Because of this, Hong Lang was shocked. Normally, Shangguan Yi wouldn't ask too much about the Shangguan clan and the imperial city. After all, Shangguan Yi was the Shangguan clan's old ancestor. Everything had to be avoided. But this time, Shangguan Yi personally asked what exactly happened between Black Wolf and the Shangguan clan that made the old ancestor of the Shangguan clan take action personally. It was a bit of a fuss. Shangguan Tu, you have to know that my 1,000 treasure tower belongs to the Martial Artists Alliance. It's not under your old ancestor's jurisdiction. If you want to deal with Longao here, I won't agree. I believe the Martial Artists Alliance won't agree either. Hearing Hong Lang's words, both Shangguan Tu and Shangguan Mu's faces turned ugly. Because they didn't expect that after they used the old ancestor's name, the other party wouldn't give them any face. He was simply courting death. What could a small 1,000 treasure tower master do even if he was a supreme Dao warrior? In front of the deputy chief of the Martial Artists Alliance, the 1,000 treasure tower master was just a fart. Shangguan Tu also snorted and said coldly, Hong Lang, I believe everyone knows the details of you and me. The old ancestor has said that no matter what happens today, Longao must die. If the supreme Dao warrior in my clan is alerted and this matter is blown out of proportion, you won't have a good time either. Both of them couldn't figure out why Hong Lang would stand up for a young boy. Was it worth offending the deputy chief for Black Wolf? They believed that as long as one wasn't a fool, one would know how to choose. One was the core disciple of the Martial Artists Alliance, and the other was the deputy chief of the Martial Artists Alliance. Even a fool would know which one was better. Was Hong Lang's brain flooded with water? It seemed unlikely. In that case, why would Hong Lang risk protecting Black Wolf and choose to go against the deputy chief? What benefits would Hong Lang gain by doing so? After thinking about it, both of them still couldn't figure out the reason, because no one could guess Hong Lang's thoughts. However, the only thing they could be sure of was that with the old ancestors' support, they could be unscrupulous. Even if the Martial Artists Alliance knew about this, they didn't have to be afraid. If the old ancestor wasn't confident, he wouldn't let them deal with Black Wolf. Therefore, no matter what, Black Wolf must die today. Chapter 983. Using the Shangguan clan to suppress him? Hong Lang's face gradually turned cold. As the head of Wanbao Pagoda and a supreme Dao martial artist, Hong Lang's status was obvious. Moreover, Hong Lang was not under the jurisdiction of Shangguan Yi. Otherwise, Hong Lang would not have stepped forward to ask about this matter. Shangguan Tu, leave Wanbao Pagoda and I won't ask you what you do. However, you and the Shangguan clan are not allowed to be presumptuous here. Is Hong Lang crazy? Seeing that Hong Lang did not even give face to the ancestor, Shangguan Tu was completely shocked. No matter what, the ancestor's status was obvious. Hong Lang was just the head of Wanbao Pagoda, who was nothing in front of the Deputy Alliance Master. In this case, why would Hong Lang offend the Deputy Alliance Master and the Shangguan clan for Black Wolf? Hong Lang, you are really presumptuous. Looking at the old man who suddenly appeared in front of him, Hong Lang's body trembled. As for Shangguan Tu and the others, they were pleasantly surprised. The old man who had just appeared was none other than the ancestor of the Shangguan clan, one of the Deputy Alliance Masters, Shangguan Yi. Deputy Alliance Master Shangguan. Regardless of whether he was under the jurisdiction of the other party, Shangguan Yi was a Deputy Alliance Master after all. With his status, Hong Lang still bowed respectfully. Shangguan Yi waved his hand and said coldly, Hong Lang, do you think that your status is above mine? Hong Lang's heart skipped a beat. Hong Lang was not a fool. Of course, He knew that Shangguan was angry at this moment. Deputy Alliance Master Shangguan, Wanbao Pagoda belongs to the Martial Artists Alliance. Back then, the Alliance Master personally ordered that no one is allowed to fight in Wanbao Pagoda. I believe you have not forgotten, right? Even if Shangguan came personally, Han Lang still did not give in. It was also because of this that Shangguan was very surprised. A small head of Wanbao Pagoda did not have the guts to disobey him. It was clear that Hong Lang had someone behind him. Otherwise, Hong Lang would not have dared to do this. Hong Lang, what if I insist on fighting? Hong Lang's heart was extremely heavy. In any case, Shangguan was in front of him in both status and strength. Even martial artists of a higher level would not dare to face the Deputy Alliance Master, let alone him. Brother Shangguan, aren't you a little too much? Upon hearing the voice, Shangguan finally understood why Hong Lang was so confident. It turned out that he really had a backer. The person who came was Shangguan. For a long time, Tang Hao and Shangguan had been fighting both openly and covertly. However, they had never fallen out with each other. This time, Longao was just the fuse that ignited the war between the two vice leaders. Tang Hao, what do you mean? Shangguan. Yes, Shangguan. Shangguan and Tang Hao's appearance caused the atmosphere to become extremely tense. Both of them were vice alliance masters, and once they started fighting, it was obvious what the outcome would be. Longao stood there quietly. From beginning to end, he did not say a single word. Shangguan, the alliance has already made a decision on Black Wolf. You want to act on your own. You are looking down on the alliance. You want to use the alliance to suppress me? Yes, I will. What do you think? Tang Hao pressed on. Shangguan was caught off guard. He did not expect Tang Hao to be so strong at this time. Tang Hao, Black Wolf killed my family's disciple. We have to settle this today. For your sake, as long as Black Wolf leaves an arm behind, we can write off the grudge. What do you think? In the end, Shangguan chose to compromise. He knew very well that he would be at a disadvantage once this matter was reported to the Alliance. As for Black Wolf, there would be plenty of opportunities in the future. Leave an arm behind? Before Tang Hao could say anything, Longao sneered. What right do you have? Longao said to Tang Hao. Deputy Tang, I have something to talk to you about. Let's talk somewhere else. Tang Hao and Longao nodded. They ignored Shangguan and walked into the 1,000 Treasure building. In a short while, the two of them disappeared without a trace. Leader Shangguan, please. Hong Lang had been following Tang Hao. Although he was wary of Shangguan, he was not afraid of Shangguan. Let's go. Shangguan did not act recklessly. He could not let the Alliance know about this. Otherwise, things would become very troublesome. Outside the 1,000 Treasure building, Shangguan stopped suddenly. He was emitting a terrifying murderous aura. Tang Hao had humiliated Shangguan. How could he take it lying down? Old ancestor, what should we do next? Shangguan too did not expect that even the old ancestor could not kill Black Wolf successfully. Shangguan too did not expect that Black Wolf had the support of a Deputy Alliance leader. No wonder he was so arrogant and dared to provoke the family clan and the old ancestor. Humph, no one who provoked me has survived. Shangguan too did not dare to speak. Shangguan Mu did not dare to speak either. The two of them were like two ants in front of Shangguan. Tuer, gather the men for me now. Remember, do not use any Supreme Dao martial artists. As long as Black Wolf dares to leave the 1,000 Treasure building, no matter what method you use, you have to kill him. If Black Wolf can return to the Alliance, you can bring your head to me. Understood, old ancestor. I will do it now. Shangguan stared at the 1,000 Treasure building in front of him. He sneered and said to himself, Tang Hao, Black Wolf, I will let you know the consequences of provoking me, Shangguan. Inside the 1,000 Treasure building. Hong Lang, there is nothing for you to do. You may leave. Yes. Hong Lang bowed respectfully and slowly left the room. In the room, there was another person besides Tang Hao and Longao. It was Murong Yenner. Longao already knew about the relationship between Murong Yenner and Tang Hao. Otherwise, why would Tang Hao help him if he did not eat too much? Yenner, I brought the person you wanted. You did not have to think about him every day. Grandpa. Murong Yenner held Tang Hao's hand and acted coquettishly with a red face. After all, how could Tang Hao not know what she was thinking? Longao's heart skipped a beat when he heard Tang Hao's words. Could it be that Murong Yenner liked him? If that was the case, then things would be troublesome. After all, Longao only had Aoshue and Yu Yin in his heart. Even Linger could not accept it, let alone other people. Because of this, Longao was very clear that he must not provoke Murong Yenner. Otherwise, he would definitely hurt this girl. Yenner, thank you very much this time. Longao knew that if it were not for Murong Yenner, Tang Hao would definitely not help him. If that was the case, he would not be so relaxed. P.S. I had a small headache in the afternoon, so I took a nap. Little Nine went to eat first. It will explode at night and continue in the morning. Everyone, please forgive me. Chapter 984. You don't have to be so polite with me. Yenner's attitude was obviously different. The more Yenner acted like this, the more Longao didn't know what to do. The three of them sat down. Black Wolf, it seems like Shangguani Ye is determined to deal with you. Remember, be careful. Longao nodded. How could he not know what Tang Hao was worried about? I know. In the following time, the three of them talked about Shangguani Ye. Then, Longao left through the back door. Yenner, I can feel that Black Wolf doesn't like you. Seeing that his grandson had fallen in love with his granddaughter, Tang Hao sighed heavily in his heart. He knew very well that if Hei Lang didn't like his granddaughter, this relationship would end in tragedy. Since he knew it would end in a tragedy, why start it? Grandpa, I know what to do. Without giving Tang Hao any chance to speak, Murong Yenner continued. I hope that Grandpa can help Black Wolf. Since things had reached this stage, how could Tang Hao say no? After leaving the Thousand Treasure Pagoda, Longao didn't continue to stay in the Imperial City. With his current strength, he wasn't a match for Shangguani Ye and the Shangguan clan. If he chose to fight them head-on, only death would await him. Longao planned to return to the Martial Artists Alliance and find a chance to meet Yu Ying. Then, he would leave the Imperial City and the Martial Artists Alliance. When he was strong enough in the future, he would take revenge. If it was an ordinary person, it would be impossible for them to know that the Thousand Treasure Pagoda had a back door. However, the Shangguan clan was different. As one of the four major clans in the Imperial City, the Shangguan clan already knew the ins and outs of the Thousand Treasure Pagoda. Exactly. As soon as Longao left the Thousand Treasure Pagoda, the Shangguan clan locked onto him. Shangguan Tu sneered when he received the news. He immediately brought Shangguan Mu and the four blue-grade great emperors out of the clan and headed towards Longao's direction. On the way back to the Martial Artists Alliance from the Imperial City, Longao was successfully intercepted by Shangguan Tu and the other five. Black Wolf, now that things have come to this, do you really think you can return to the Martial Artists Alliance? Shangguan Tu had a sinister smile on his face. But he knew very well that no matter what happened, Black Wolf could not return to the Martial Artists Alliance. Otherwise, not to mention them, even the old ancestor might not be able to kill Black Wolf smoothly. With just the two of you. With just us. It's not that I'm looking down on you, but why don't we make a bet? If you can keep me here, I'll give you my head. If you can't, from now on, you'll have to kneel down before me every time you see me. Do you dare? Looking at Hei Lang's confident face, Shangguan Tu felt a little uncertain. The more confident Longao was, the more uncertain Shangguan Tu was. However, if he chose not to bet, wouldn't it be telling everyone that he was afraid? As a disciple of the Shangguan clan and a purple grade great emperor, Shangguan too cared a lot about his reputation. What's more, in Shangguan Tu's eyes, he had never put Longao in his eyes. Even if Longao dared to fight against the ancestor and the family, it was all because of Tang Hao, the deputy leader behind this person, and not how powerful this person's strength was. Alright, Black Wolf, I'd like to see how you're going to escape from me today. 1 purple grade great emperor level martial artist, and 4 blue grade great emperor level martial artists. If Hei Lang still managed to escape from them, they would rather commit suicide than continue living. However, in the next second, a shocking scene took place. Under everyone's eyes, Black Wolf, who was just there, suddenly disappeared. That's right, he disappeared into thin air without a trace. Everyone stared blankly at the scene in front of them. No one knew what had happened because they couldn't figure out why Black Wolf, who was just there, would suddenly disappear. Uncle, what happened? At this moment, Shangguan Tu's face was extremely gloomy. If Black Wolf could escape like this, his reputation would be completely lost. A figure flashed and dazzling eyes figure suddenly appeared. Shangguan Tu, what happened? Of course, Shangguan Tu knew Dazzling Eye's identity. He bowed respectfully, and then told Dazzling Eye about what had just happened. After listening, Dazzling Eye's face didn't look too good. After all, no matter who heard or encountered such a thing, they would be shocked. A mere yellow grade great emperor could actually do this. If they didn't see it with their own eyes, no one would believe it. Senior brother Dazzling Eye, what should we do now? The old ancestor had personally given the order, but they didn't succeed in killing Black Wolf. Shangguan Tu didn't dare to look for the old ancestor, so he could only ask Dazzling Eye for help. After all, Dazzling Eye was a purple grade great emperor and a core disciple of the Alliance. He believed that if Dazzling Eye helped, things wouldn't be too bad. But Shangguan Tu didn't know that Dazzling Eye was actually sent by Shangguan Ye. However, Dazzling Eye didn't say anything about this. Everyone had their own agenda. Don't worry. Although Black Wolf can disappear into thin air, I believe that Black Wolf definitely didn't return to the Alliance. Shangguan Tu, let's immediately guard the exit. I don't believe that Black Wolf can escape. Okay. Shangguan Tu didn't dare to be careless and immediately left with Dazzling Eye. As soon as the two left, Longao's figure appeared. Looking at the figures of the people in front of him who were already far away, Longao sneered. Longao didn't leave. He just entered the Dragon Seal space. He had already decided that if he didn't teach Shangguan Ye and the Shangguan clan a lesson, they would really think that he was easy to bully. Today, I'm going to do something that others can't do. Under normal circumstances, it was almost impossible for a low-level Great Emperor to kill a high-level Great Emperor. However, Longao wanted to challenge it. He wanted to see if he could kill a blue-grade Great Emperor or even a purple-grade Great Emperor with his green-grade Great Emperor strength. Longao's figure disappeared instantly. With his speed, it was as easy as turning his hand to catch up with Shangguan Tu, Dazzling Eye, and the others. From the beginning to the end, Shangguan Tu and the others didn't expect that Longao didn't leave. Instead, he turned back and followed them. The two couldn't even sense Longao's aura. The two parties, one in front and one behind, shot toward the Martial Artists Alliance. The distance from the Imperial City to the Martial Artists Alliance wasn't too far. However, Shangguan Tu and Dazzling Eye stopped when they were about 10 minutes away from the Martial Artists Alliance. Their intentions were simple. They wanted to continue intercepting Black Wolf here. The old ancestor had already given the order. No matter what happened, they had to kill Black Wolf. P.S. It's a bit of a headache. I reluctantly wrote another chapter. I'm going to rest early today. I'll wake up at 7 tomorrow to write 10 chapters. Chapter 985. Xian Mu, Shangguan Mu, and Shangguan Tuesday. A gold grade great sovereign, a purple grade great sovereign, and 4 blue grade great sovereigns. This force was very strong. If it was a one-on-one battle, Longao wouldn't be a match for the 7 of them. However, the current situation was that the enemy was in the open, while they were in the dark. The 7 of them had just stabilized themselves, and before they could discuss what to do, a terrifying sword she slashed towards them. A dragon roar resounded. The dragon roar and sword she came one after another, causing the surrounding space to tremble. Countless sword she appeared, scaring the 7 of them. Without giving them any chance, the sword she attacked them from all directions. Xian Mu and Shangguan Tu resisted with all their might, but even so, Shangguan Mu's body was still pierced by the sword chi, and he fell to the ground. Looking at the corpse on the ground, the remaining 6 of them were terrified to the extreme. They didn't know what had happened. Who was it? After thinking for a while, the 2 of them locked on to Black Wolf. Other than Black Wolf, it seemed that no one dared to attack them at this moment. They were simply courting death. Looking at the corpse on the ground, Shangguan Tu was furious to the extreme. His face was extremely gloomy, and it was as ugly as it could get. Originally, they were the ones who killed He Lang, but in the end, they were the ones who were assassinated by He Lang. Especially their own nephew, who died here. From the beginning to the end, they did not find any trace of He Lang. Senior brother Xian Mu, what should we do now? After searching around, he couldn't find any trace of Black Wolf. Until now, Shangguan Tu still didn't know how Black Wolf did it. He lowered his head and pondered. Xian Mu also realized that He Lang wasn't an ordinary person. Let's not talk about what had just happened, just the strength that He Lang had shown in the burning sky god realm wasn't something that a yellow grade great emperor martial artist could display. Who is Black Wolf? All along, Xian Mu had doubts about Black Wolf's identity. Let's wait and see. I don't believe that Black Wolf can kill us. Until now, Dazzle didn't put Black Wolf in his eyes. If he had the strength to kill them, he wouldn't have to hide. Black Wolf, if you're still a man, come out and fight us fair and square. Why are you hiding? Senior brother Dazzling Eye, are you sure Black Wolf is here? Looking at the empty surroundings, Shangguan Tu found it hard to imagine that Black Wolf was nearby. Otherwise, how could Black Wolf do this? No one responded. In the next second, countless swords she shot out in an instant. The sword she crisscrossed and was abnormally terrifying. Learning from the previous incident, the remaining 6 people stood back to back. With the strength of the 6 people, the sword she was unable to harm them. Regarding this point, Longao was very clear about it. In the dragon seal space, Long Fu seemed to be very curious and asked, Master, since you clearly know that you can't kill 6 people with your strength, why are you still wasting your energy? All is fair in war. All is fair in war? Hearing his master's words, Long Fu was very curious. He didn't know what his master wanted to do. Longao was still using the dragon seal space to constantly send out countless sword chi. From the beginning to the end, Longao was looking for an opportunity. Once he grasped the opportunity, he would not hesitate to attack. Since things had come to this point, he would be sorry if he didn't kill a few people. However, what happened next made Longao feel very depressed. Originally, he wanted to use this opportunity to kill Shangguan Tu and Dazzling Eye in one fell swoop. However, he never thought that an uninvited guest would suddenly appear just as he was about to attack. This uninvited guest was none other than his sworn enemy, the deputy chief of the alliance, Shangguan Yi, a supreme divine path martial artist. Longao instantly gave up because he knew very well that with his current strength, even if he launched a sneak attack or used other methods, it was impossible to kill Shangguan Yi. In the end, he might even go for wool and come home shorn. Ancestor, Black Wolf is nearby. Shangguan Yi nodded. Of course, he knew that Black Wolf was nearby. Because of this, Shangguan Yi was also a little surprised because even he didn't know how Black Wolf did it. He could actually disappear in front of him and launch an attack. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed it. Today, no matter what, you must find Black Wolf for me. Yes, ancestor. Both Dazzling Eye and Shangguan too knew very well that their ancestor was really angry at this moment. Therefore, they didn't dare to be the slightest bit careless. They immediately scattered and began to search for Black Wolf's traces. However, it was useless. Longao had already left. Now, he might have successfully returned to the Martial Artists' Alliance. If this matter was known by others, they might be angered to death. In the Martial Artists' Alliance. As soon as Longao returned, Linger came to look for him. As if she couldn't wait, Linger said straightforwardly, Longao, I just got the news that Shangguan seems to want to kill you. Therefore, if there's nothing else, you'd better not leave the Alliance. Do you understand? Longao already knew about this. This time, the reason why he left the Martial Artists' Alliance and went to the Imperial City was mainly to help Shangguan Fair. However, he didn't expect that Shangguan Fair would only lead him to the Imperial City and let the Shangguan clan deal with him. However, Longao didn't regret it at all. After all, he had regarded Shangguan Fair as a true friend. Longao didn't tell her about Shangguan Fair's matter. In his opinion, it was already over. Therefore, he said, Linger, I'll deal with this matter. You're always like this. Anyway, just be careful. By the way, I think you won't be able to see senior sister. Why is that? Hearing Linger's words, Longao was shocked. Although he didn't want to take Yin away, it was necessary to see her. Otherwise, why would he join the Martial Artists' Alliance this time? However, the main reason he joined the Martial Artists' Alliance this time was to see Yin. Seeing Longao so anxious, Linger felt an inexplicable pain in her heart. She also felt a little sour, but she didn't show it. In Linger's opinion, she wouldn't give up on her feelings, but she wouldn't chase too hard either. Longao, I won't hide it from you. Senior sister already knows that you've joined the Martial Artists' Alliance, but she can't see you. You should know the reason. In the current situation, seeing you won't do you any good. Master has already taken senior sister away from the Martial Artists' Alliance. According to the information I received, Master took senior sister away this time mainly for the Supreme Shinto. So that's why. As for Yu Yin's intention, how could Longao not know? However, Longao was more or less unhappy that he couldn't see Yu Yin. He had already reached this point, but he still couldn't see her. However, Longao wasn't a reckless person. P.S. My wife turned off the alarm, so I didn't get up until 92 am. I'm so depressed. I'll eat immediately and write a book. Today's 10 chapters. Chapter 986. Longao knew very well that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for Yu Yin. Supreme Divine Path. Yu Yin's cultivation had successfully broken through to the Divine Path. Although she was only at the virtual God realm, with Yu Yin's talent and potential, as well as the great help from the Martial Artists' Alliance, it would not be difficult for her to break through to the Divine Path. Longao certainly hoped to see Yu Yin become a Supreme Divine Path martial artist. Linger, I understand. Longao, don't worry. Nothing will happen to senior sister if she stays in the Alliance. At the very least, before she breaks through to the Supreme Divine Path, I believe that the Alliance and Master will not consider her marriage. If that was the case, then he was relieved. Since he could not see Yu Yin, Longao was ready to leave the Martial Artists' Alliance. He had decided to wait until his cultivation broke through to the Supreme Divine Path and return to the Martial Artists' Alliance. At that time, it would be the time to take Yin away. Linger, I'm leaving the Alliance tomorrow. Linger did not seem surprised at all. She had already guessed that Longao would do this. Longao, do you know the consequences if you leave the Alliance? Regarding Linger's worries in her heart, how could Longao not know? Even so, could he stay in the Martial Artists' Alliance forever? Linger, I'll take care of my problems. Don't worry. Thank you for taking care of me during this time. Remember, don't waste any more time. I hope that the next time I see you, you'll have broken through to the supreme divine path." Linger nodded and did not say much. She did not know what to say at this time. Seeing Linger get up and leave, Longao sighed deeply. He still could not accept Linger's love. At night, stars dotted the sky. Longao sat quietly in the courtyard by himself. No one knew what he was thinking in his mind. Alliance Master. Seeing Tong Tiandi suddenly appear, Longao got up and bowed respectfully. No matter what, Tong Tiandi's status and strength were obvious. Other than being the leader of the Martial Artists Alliance, Tong Tiandi was also on the Heaven Roll. In the Martial Heaven continent, the two strongest rankings were the Earth ranking and the Heaven ranking. According to the rules of the Earth ranking, as long as one wasn't over 40 years old, they could pursue it. It was one of the most valuable rankings of the Martial Heaven continent's younger generation. As for the Heaven ranking, it was the strongest ranking in the entire Martial Heaven continent. Anyone who could enter the Heaven ranking was a peak existence in the Martial Heaven continent. Longao knew very well that Tong Tiandi, who was by his side, was at least one of the top 15 on the Heaven list. "Longao, I believe you already know about Yuyin, right?" Nodding his head, Longao didn't say anything, but his meaning was clear. "I know." Hades is doing this for Yuyin's sake. The Divine Tao is a realm that every martial artist dreams of. If you love Yuyin, you won't stop him. Alliance Master, I have already decided to leave the Alliance tomorrow. He seemed to be surprised, but Tong Tiandi felt relieved after thinking about it. "You've really decided?" "Uncle Tong, I have already decided. But don't worry, no matter where I go, I will be a member of the Alliance. As long as the Alliance is in danger, I will definitely rush over. A gentleman keeps his word." "A gentleman keeps his word." Hearing Longao's words, Tong Tiandi was delighted. This was what he wanted. "Longao, I can guarantee you that before you come to the Alliance, Yuyin will definitely be fine. She will also not get married." "Many thanks, Uncle Tong." They were just using each other. Longao didn't really think that Tong Tiandi would look at him differently for Linger's sake. What he wanted was for Yuyin to be safe. At this moment, Tong Tiandi took out a token from his chest. The word Emperor was engraved on it. The token emitted a terrifying aura. It was obviously a treasure. What was this? What did Tong Tiandi mean by this? "Longao, this token is my symbol. Once you see this token, someone will come to see me. If you encounter any trouble in the future, you can mobilize any forces." Taking the token, Longao was shocked. He was well aware of the significance of the badge in his hand. "Uncle Tong." Waving his hand, he didn't give Longao any chance to speak. "You just said that you will always be a member of the Martial Artists Alliance. Since that is the case, why do you still refuse?" At this point, Longao knew very well that he couldn't take it. Moreover, Longao was very excited. He knew that once he had this token, he could mobilize any forces in the Alliance. At that time, even if someone wanted to deal with him, he could use the Martial Artists Alliance to protect himself. "Many thanks, Uncle Tong." Longao didn't continue to be courteous and accepted the token. Tong Tiandi laughed and nodded. He said, "I look forward to your visit to the Martial Artists Alliance again. At that time, I will arrange everything. I hope you can get Yuyin as you wish." After Tong Tiandi left, Longao stood there quietly. This was the way the world was. There were no eternal enemies, and no eternal friends. He and the Martial Artists Alliance used to be enemies. But now, they were neither friends nor enemies. It was more about mutual benefits. Longao knew very well that if there came a day when he was no longer useful, Tong Tiandi would be the first to deal with him. This was the reality. This was the world. Strength. In the end, one had to have great strength to survive in this world. Not only oneself, but even one's family and friends would not be affected by the rules. In the secret room of the Martial Artists Alliance, Deputy Chief Shengguan, I have investigated. Black Wolf has already returned to the Alliance. We have been waiting for nothing. At this moment, Shengguan Ye's face was extremely gloomy. He couldn't figure out how Black Wolf did it. How could he disappear right under his nose? Was it possible? No matter whether Shengguan Ye believed it or not, the truth was right in front of him. Once this matter was spread out, where would his family's reputation go? Where would his family's reputation go? Murderous intent filled the air. Dazzling Mu shuddered and stood there in fear. He didn't dare to say a word as he was afraid that Shengguan Ye would kill him in a fit of rage. In the Alliance, we can't do anything. Why are the Chief and Tang House siding with Black Wolf? Why? Shengguan Ye still couldn't figure out why the Chief and the Deputy Chief were siding with a small court disciple. This matter was a little strange. Could it be that the Chief and Tang Hao wanted to use Black Wolf to deal with him? If that was the case, wouldn't it be a little unnecessary? After all, with the Chief's strength and status, it would be easy for him to get rid of him. P.S. Don't worry, the 10 chapters will be delivered tonight. You're tuning into the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.